That's all right. Basically, we've got probably the biggest masterclass we've ever hosted today. I'm so excited. The market is pumping. You know what? Every single time we run one of these masterclasses, we've hit all-time highs. The first one we did last year, I did a shoey when Bitcoin hit 100,000. So welcome along. Let us know where you're coming in from. Let us know in the chat. We'll kick off in about 30 seconds. Just let everyone else come in. G'day, Grant from Adelaide. Stephen from Darwin. Jason from New Plymouth. G'day, Andrew, Sydney. Dean. Ben loves it. G'day, Jen from Brisbane. Stephen, Karen, Dan, Adam. Wow. All of you taking some time out of your day to come to the August Masterclass. This is so exciting. We run these every single month, and they just get bigger and better. Today, we've got 3 hours of so much value, so much insights. I'm bringing on some of our senior analysts. We're bringing on Checkmate, our head on-chain analyst, to give you some really deep insights of where the market's going. We know a lot of you are new to crypto. We know a lot of you have been in crypto for a long time. But ultimately, today is about helping those with more than $100,000 in their portfolio really grow it sustainably, get everything you need out of the market to make sure you don't round trip again. And we want to make sure you walk away today with a bunch of value. So we'll get our slides up as everyone joins the group. Amazing. Look at everyone flying in. 800 live. So exciting. The energy is epic. So excited to be with all of you today. Let's jump in. First of all, I know all of your time is super, super valuable. We're in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. You have your careers, you have your jobs, your family, and you're here today. So I want to make sure you get so much value out of today's session. I know you're so time poor. We understand you're busy, right? The fact that you've shown up today, you're already ahead of the crowd. So many people don't put in the time, don't put in the effort, and just hope and pray. That strategy doesn't work anymore in crypto. So we're here to absolutely crush this crypto cycle and give you everything you need. And we put weeks and weeks and weeks putting this event together. But true story, the market really started to pump literally on Sunday. So we've been spending all the last 24 hours nonstop trying to update the content, get much insights and value for you as well, up to date as of this very moment. So you are absolutely in the right place. Now, you've got the Q&A and chat throughout. So please use the chat. If you are in the event, if you've registered for the event, you can use the chat. We're going to be getting to some Q&A, sending some questions, and we'll be helping you out the way. If you are on YouTube or Twitter, you cannot participate, unfortunately, in the live chat. That's only reserved for the ticket holders. So welcome everyone along. Now, if you do have less than $100,000, that is absolutely fine. Today's content will still be relevant. However, as we go through, there's going to be some stuff that's a little bit more relevant to the bigger holders. Now, today's session goes for 3 hours. We have so much to cover, absolutely zero time to waste. We want to get through as much as we can and make sure you're getting all the value as we can cram in today. We have the member Collective Shift Growth team in the chat with you. I might actually bring up Reese and DT if you guys are there. Reese and DT are ahead of our member growth team. So DT is our head of member growth. We've got Reese, the senior member growth partner. How are you, fellas?
Good, mate. Excited. Fucking pumped.
Very good. Yeah. Looking forward to speaking with everyone.
It's going to be an epic masterclass. So basically, DT and Reese look after all of our members as they come in. They have any questions. Today, they're going to be in the chat answering any questions you guys have. So if you have any questions, these guys will be in the chat. And what an exciting time. Reese just joined in the last few days, mate. So it's been a lot. I know you've come from the high net wealth space. You come in to Collective Shift. You excited to jump on board, mate?
Very excited, yeah. So originally come from eToro, looking after high net worth individuals. So I've been in the game a very long time. Obviously, looking forward to working with a lot of new people from today, and get the ball rolling. Very exciting times. Bitcoin as well.
Yeah, no, it's great timing. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the chat. Reese and DT will answer any of your questions. For any of you that want to consider what we do down the line in terms of memberships and products, these guys will be the ones you're talking to. So fellas, I'll see you in the chat. Thanks for jumping on. See you soon. Awesome. We've also got Alice in the chat as well. If you have any questions, Alice will be there to help. I also want to bring on our Director of Research, Matt. So Matt is our Director of Research, Collective Shift. He leads our analyst team. He's been full-time in crypto since 2017. I've actually worked with him for 7 years. This guy is an absolute magician. He's the one that found Solana at $22, Pendle up to $2,500, $2,500%. Just one of the best players in the space, in my opinion. And I love working with Matt. He's helped all of our members make a lot of money. He's helped me make a lot of money as well with his insights. So Matt, great to have you on board, mate. I'm looking forward to your sessions today with Simon.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. Biggest webinar yet for sure. So thanks everyone for turning out, and looking forward to getting into my market outlook, Simon's outlook as well, and the whole team here. And hopefully everyone here can crush it for the rest of this bull market.
Amazing. We might actually bring up Simon as well if Simon's there. So Simon's also one of our senior analysts. So Simon and Matt have been going through some great content today. Simon's actually been with us for a little over a year now. And early investor into Sui. Mate, you got all of our members on the Sui. It's been a big winner for me as well, mate. It's great to have you on board and keen for your exit strategy stuff today.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. I'm looking forward to it. We are looking at just about 1,000 people live on StreamYard. So add in the other platforms, there's probably heaps of people, guys.
Wow.
Really keen to give some people some insights into the market, where we think it's going. I think we're going to add a lot of value to people today.
Yeah, very excited. So Matt and Simon will be back very shortly, guys. They're going to go through the market and leave you. We're going to go market update. Checkmate's going to come on for some on-chain analysis. Then they're going to give one of the best talks I reckon we're going to ever see in terms of our masterclasses, which is the exit strategy, taking you step by step, how to not round trip another cycle. So very, very excited. I know Jacob talking about when is everyone selling. Matt and Simon will be sharing all those insights very soon. I'll see you soon, fellas. Awesome. And that is Simon. So Simon's been in the game for 7 years, in the trenches, and loves sort of those research-backed insights. Yes, unfortunately, guys, I'm in a jacket. I've been told I have to wear a jacket when we have more than 1,000 people. We had to dust it off. Couldn't find it. I usually wear hoodies around the office, as you probably know me online. Hoodie only policy. Unless we have 1,000 people in the room, then I have to sharpen up. We've also got James Checkmate, our lead on-chain analyst, who's going to be jumping on soon. Bitcoin OG, one of probably the best on-chain educators in the space, in my opinion. He's going to be doing a deep dive on the macro, on-chain trends, investor behavior, and giving you the most insights on-chain that is available out there. If you're new to crypto, if you're not aware of these investing and research techniques, this is not the same as the stock market. This is not the same as property. Crypto is a completely different beast, and we have our own experts to help you navigate today. So very excited for him to jump on. Brenton, you can ask questions in the chat, and we'll sort of pin them as they come through, but we'll have time for the questions coming up. Now, who is in the room? There's already nearly 1,100 people live, which is absolute bananas. Over 2,200 investors registered for this. So we've already got 1,000 people. That's already 50% showing up. Is absolutely bananas. And most of you are managing $100,000 in portfolios. We are very, very experienced with working with high net worth individuals. We're very good at helping bigger crypto investors grow their portfolio manager. We also do help the lower tiers as well. You'll get a lot of insights today, but really today's session is about those that have $100,000 or more. And the core goal, so there was a form all of you filled out, it was available to fill out as an optional form. We had so many people fill it out, which is amazing. We basically take that data and we look at what your goals are, what your objectives are, what your challenges are, and then we customize the content for you. So the main 3 goals we realized from all of you was you want to grow your crypto wealth, you want to achieve financial freedom and time freedom. That's a big one for me. You realize that you make more money. Money doesn't really become as important. You want more time. So we're going to talk about that and how to really not miss this bull market opportunity as we're really in the thick of it right now. The challenges. The big one is a lack of time. So time poor. If you're time poor, you're really busy, like wondering how to do things, following different people online, it can be really, really difficult to stay on top of things. If you've got lack of knowledge or you just got conflicting information, so many different influences online to get all sorts of different stuff. That is a big one for today. Portfolio construction. So many people try and barrel into altcoins that have 30, 40, 50, 60% in an individual altcoin. It can hold you back. And we're going to talk about that today. And also fear of making a mistake. I get it. Crypto is the Wild West. And, a mistake can be, devastating. If you buy something, send it to the wrong place, can be absolutely challenging. So we're going to go through that. And if any of that sounds familiar, absolutely not alone. Everyone was pretty much in the same boat. So I want to get a quick in the chat. I want to start with a quick Q&A just to understand who's in the crowd. We're talking to 1,000 people. I can't see anyone. So I want to really just understand who's in the chat so I can really make sure the content is personalized for all of you today. Be honest, in the chat, who here has a decent sized portfolio, but you just feel like you're guessing most of the time? Just give us like a yep, yes, if you feel as though you're like guessing. Maybe you're shooting from the hip. Maybe no. Maybe you've got a strategy all complete. You're absolutely spot on. You're happy as Larry. Give us a no. Otherwise, if you do think you're guessing most of the time, give us a yes or a me. Steve, yep, sometimes. 500K, totally guessing, right? Sometimes, at times, cool. Yeah, look, you might not be guessing all the time. You might have a good hunch or some good insights, but sometimes it can be hard. Who's ever felt unsure about when to take profits or afraid of missing the top? Who's thought about taking profits, not sure, is this the top? Am I selling too early? Maybe you didn't sell at all. Lee, yep, holding. I've been in the space. No exit strategy, guessing, just holding, yes. Not huge, but guessing, no. Right, yes, always, sometimes, yes, definitely, great, okay. Who's round-tripped a cycle before? I've round-tripped when I first started 8 or 9 years ago. It can be tough watching all that money grow and then just give it right back. Chris, never sold. Daisy's new to the market. Matthew, decent size. Dan, yes, always leave early. Don't know how to time exits. Yep. Brian, Patrick, yes. Yep. What's that? What's round tripping? Round tripping is basically when you run all your portfolio up to a bull market and realize that it doesn't last forever and then you ride it all the way down again. Jeffrey, first cycle, welcome. Okay, great. You know, and also, do you feel like you don't have enough time or just too busy to stay on top of crypto with everything else going on? I've been full time now for 9 years nearly in crypto, and this space has grown so fast. We have a big team. We have 17 people that work at Collective Shift trying to stay on top of the markets, and I know how difficult it is as a time poor person to stay on top of crypto. It is absolutely bananas. Yes, hate the round trips. Did that in 2018. Fairly new here. Didn't get in, but watched it. I've got time. I'm retired. Stephen, good. That's great. You might have more time than others. Want to understand. Cool. Time poor. Yep. Great. Okay. Good. Who feels overwhelmed in crypto by flying and maybe flying a bit blind with no strategy? Just a lot of information. And then, yeah, circle. Okay. And last question. I just want to know, what do you think is the biggest factor in crypto success? The person or the process? You know, I speak with thousands and thousands of investors. I've got over 100,000 social media followers online. Been in this space for 9 years. I've done one-on-ones with literally hundreds, if not thousands of people. What do you think is the difference between the successful crypto investors and the non-successful investors? Do you think it's person or the process? What do you think is the difference? What's the factor? And I'll give you a bit of a hint. 90% of people lose money in crypto. Process, both. Yes, person. Knowing when to take profits. Yeah, it's process, all right? We work with so many different people, from people that have full-time jobs, that have families, have businesses, retired, 1 hour a week, 10 minutes a week, it doesn't matter. It's the process, all right? If you don't have a process, you can have all the information that you want, but if you don't take profits at the right time, you're not going to be successful. So if any of these hit home, you're in the right place. We've tailored today's session particularly for you guys that are in that same boat. And my goal for you today is just to walk away with confidence, clarity, and really unlock your true potential. And that's not woo-woo. I genuinely know that crypto can make a lot of money. It can also lose you a lot of money if you stuff it up. So I want to try and really help you avoid the common mistakes a lot of people do. And if nothing else, I just want to help you make a bunch of money. All right. But what I need from you to make sure you actually make some money is implement the 7-step crypto strategy doc. So we're going to put this link in the chat. If you haven't seen this is our 7-step process to help you actually make money in crypto. All right. So we'll put the link in the chat very soon. Have a look at that. That's our 7-step process. I've used my entire career. We use with all of our clients. I'm going to give that away for free. Download that, check it out, and I'll go through it at the end. I don't want to see you guys at the end of this bull market that I speak to that is round tripped again. All right. Round tripping crypto profits is really, really painful. And I really want to try and help you not do that. All right. Really visualize yourself winning this bull market, making sure you take the profits. I'm going to help you over the next 3 hours, really change everything. All right. Deal? Righto. Let's get into it. Before we get started, who the hell am I? Some of you are probably new to Collective Shift, new to me, new to these masterclasses. Before the success, I was just a regular kid from Tassie, from Launceston. I know there was a few people in the chat before saying they're from Tassie. I shared a bunk bed with my brother up until 8 years ago. Small town. My parents still rent. Didn't come up with much money at all. I just had to figure it out on my own. Wasn't top of my class. No family money. No finance degree. All right. But I had a goal, and that was really to try and, generate financial freedom. I didn't want to be a 9-to-5. I didn't want to do the same thing that everyone else did. I really wanted to help my family. I wanted to be free. I wanted to be able to travel and do the things I wanted to do for me and my family. And the thing that pissed me off the most is school never taught us how money works. They don't teach you how savings work. They don't teach you how inflation eats your savings. The banks all get bailouts. They take your money, they spin it up, rehypothecate it, lend it out. All right. And if they fail, they get bailouts. All right. And you get told to budget. We don't get taught how to budget. All right. And I thought, fuck this. I don't want to play this game. All right. I then found Bitcoin back. It was 2017 at the time. And I went all in. That was about 9 years ago. Discovered Bitcoin and realized how game-changing this space was with Bitcoin and the fiat system. And I quit school, sold my business that I had, took every dollar I had and put it all into crypto. That's when I was 17. I bought ETH at $80, Bitcoin at in the low thousands. All right. And everyone thought I was insane. I remember coming back to mum and dad going, I've just gone all in on crypto. And mum and dad going, what on earth are you talking about? What is crypto? What is Bitcoin? No idea. All right. Everyone thought I was insane. 17-year-old kid 9 years ago in Tassie. But I got in early. All right. I made a lot of money, but I had no strategy, no idea what I was doing, no guidance, no plan. And like so many others, completely round tripped the whole thing. I bought ETH at $80, did a 10, 15x, round tripped it all because I had no strategy. Oh, and I've just lost my camera. Just bring that back. We'll go my webcam for now. And I round tripped the whole thing. And that was, like so many people, really, really hard. All right. As my camera just goes flat. And I lost $120,000 on a single trade. All right. That was absolutely nuts. As an 18-year-old losing $120,000, absolutely wild. It crushed me, but it really changed the way I invested in crypto. All right. And that was the hard thing. That's when I got serious. I teamed up with Matt, who you just met, our director of research. All right. And we started building a system based on strategy, not shooting from the hip. Oh, my camera's probably not charged. And the biggest difference when I actually had a strategy and where I made most of my money, the life-changing money I made was in the metaverse before it hit, all right? Before Facebook renamed to Meta, before the online gaming projects really took off. We saw that narrative before it hit. I went really hard, and I actually was able to sell and made life-changing amounts of money because I had an exit strategy, and I made real life-changing money. This is my bank account, a screenshot of my bank account back in 2021, right? As an early 20-year-old, in my early 20s, taking out $50,000 chunks as we went and had that exit strategy and sell strategy, which was really awesome. All right. Not luck, not hype, just strategy. But I couldn't do it alone. You know, didn't have a finance degree. It wasn't about me. I wasn't anything special, but I had the processes and systems in place. And why is that? Well, I needed an edge. In markets, there's winners and losers. I'm a big sports guy. There's winners and losers. In markets, especially, 90% of people lose. All right. And we started winning again. And when we started winning again, we started to prove it worked, and we had that process, and we started sharing it with others, and people followed. They made money too. Indigo was one of our first clients. She doubled her portfolio in the first few weeks. She was a mum. She was just watching, YouTubers online, all right, and then came and joined Collective Shift, doubled her portfolio in the first few weeks, which is absolutely crazy. I then started sharing those frameworks with other people because I wanted to genuinely see if it worked with other people. More people reached out. I ended up doing a TEDx talk, and things absolutely exploded. All right, you can search up that TED talk if you want. Is my camera back on? I think we're back on, guys. There we go. We're away. New office, by the way. We're in a new office literally a few days ago. So DIY job. But more people reached out, and the TEDx talk really exploded things. And you can check that out. Just Google my name and TEDx. I did the first crypto TEDx in Australia. And I love educating and helping other people. And the results started to absolutely pile in. And this was the start of my research company, Collective Shift. We're now nearly 5 years old. I hired researchers, analysts, data guys, EAs. I brought everything in. 5 years later, where we are today, I spent over $200,000 a month on my research and company, Collective Shift. This is literally a screenshot of my P&L. $2.471 million I spent year to date on my team, in my company. That is my edge. And I use that to hire the best people to help me invest personally and do the best that I can and share that with my clients. All right, and this is the team here. We've got teams all over Australia. All right, we have about 17 people. We actually haven't taken a team for a little while. We need to update that. But that is what gives me the edge. All right, because when you're making good money, you can reinvest that back in, and you can, hire better people, researchers, analysts, and that's what gives us our edge. All right, and we started to scale everything globally, the research globally, coaching, and now we do global, insights and coaching everywhere in the world. All right, majority in Australia and the US, and we built the edge that I wish I had when I first started. On-chain data, fundamentals, and exit strategies. This is what people and influencers don't teach you online. I used to work for a YouTube influencer, right? They are just, all they're usually selling is technical analysis, alerts, buy and sell signals. It's a load of nonsense. Yes, it can help you, but 99% of people shouldn't be traders. We don't teach trading. We help time poor people through quality insights, fundamentals, and on-chain data, right? This is a specialized, framework and insights and research model that we use internally to be the best of the world at to give us our edge. So I built the team, we built the process and the system without the guessing, without the hype, and it just works. But ultimately, at the end of the day, because I'd worked with a previous YouTube influencer, I'd seen the business model. It is the Wild West. These guys sign non-disclosure agreements to promote tokens. They're pushing affiliate links. They're pushing all sorts of shit in your face, clickbaity stuff to get you to click on their links and trade. And that doesn't matter if you win or lose because they make the money on every trade. That's how their business model works. All right. But I wanted to build a company, a crypto company based on trust and transparency. No hidden shields, no fake influencers. We have a trust and transparency policy, which is our number one policy. We don't do affiliate links. We don't do paid promotion of tokens. The only way we make money is from the research fees we charge, and we have a full disclosure policy on everything we talk about because we are completely independent. You can search this up. You can Google it. You can see every single token our entire team owns at any point in time, whether you remember or not, because of that trust and transparency piece is so, so important. And you look around and you go, this whole space is not filled with any trust and transparency. And that's why I wanted to be a leader in that space. And we brought everything together. We aligned the incentives with our members. We have so many 5-star reviews. You can go check that out on Trustpilot based on results. That's the only way we work. If our clients make money, we make money. That's the only way it works. You see how it's a win-win? It's actually a really cool business model when you think about it. If you win, we win. All right? Not if you lose or win, we win. It's not fair. And that's how most of the industry is built. I'm grateful to become a multimillionaire since the age of 24. We raised some money. The business, this was 4 or 5 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, raised at $15 million valuation. I travel the world, host events like this. This was at AusCryptoCon with Bergs, who I host my crypto podcast with, and help others make money in crypto the right way. All right, that was an award I won just recently with my girlfriend on the right-hand side there, the Community Leader of the Year award in Australia for crypto on the left, because I genuinely want to help people, all right? And I absolutely love doing it. I can travel the world and I can help you make money, and then I make money in the process. And also, I'm super competitive, by the way. I love sports. I hate losing. And this is me on the left-hand side here. I run a half marathon on Sunday just gone. I'm wanting to try and complete the full marathon. I hate running, by the way. Me snowboarding, and then I'm a big Brisbane Lions fan in Australia. So we lost to Collingwood. I went to that game, and then the following year we won. So stoked. But I hate losing. I want to be successful, and I want to help other people be successful too. And if I can do this, starting from just in my bunk bed, literally a few years ago in Tassie, you can do too. All right. So let's talk results. This is great, Ben, but have you actually helped anyone? Over the years, right? We only up to our 5th birthday, which is crazy. I've been in the space for 9 years full time, but Collective Shift has helped literally thousands of people transform their financial situations through crypto. Bitcoin at the bottom of the cycle. This is Matt. We called literally the bottom at 16,000 in the last cycle, the first crypto buy. This was a post in our platform. Solana at $22 when he shared that. And Solana pumped to then $200. Syrup, if you follow me on social media, you've known that I've been a big believer in Syrup for a long time. This is 1,000%. I literally put this on Instagram for free. You can go check it out. Because I put my money where my mouth is. Unlike a lot of other people that just push out all these altcoins and then one hits and, happy days. I share my wins and losses. It's what I'm doing in my portfolio, right? Syrup, Pendle, this is another one of Matt's, up 2,500%. And a MemeFi project very recently did a 10x. This is one I shared with the Platinum members. Unfortunately, I can't share this one because this is a member benefit, but this is another one that did 10x, and I'm going to talk about it in my session later today. And I could honestly live passively off crypto if I wanted to. This is just 5 days ago. This is on Saturday. I withdrew $70,000 from my CoinSpot account. You can see there, Benjamin Simpson. This is literally a screenshot from my bank account. This is not to show off, guys. I just genuinely want to show that this is legit. I'm real. I live in Melbourne, and I love making money with crypto. And we've got an amazing company, an amazing team. And today I really want to help you, take some education away and try and implement it yourself. And the reason I want to do that is because I love helping our clients win, because I've been burnt in the past too. And I want to build a business that I wish I had when I first started. And we're now the biggest in Australia, and I really want to take it globally. And we now get paid by some of the biggest crypto companies in Australia. So SwiftX, CoinSpot, and Coinbase are actually all clients of ours. They pay us hundreds of thousands of dollars for our research because of our edge. You can see here another screenshot. This is from my profit and loss. $200,000 from our B2B clients, right? Because of our edge, because no one does on-chain analysis, fundamental analysis, and sentiment analysis well. And I'm going to share with you those insights today with our team. All right. And just a sample of some of the people that have won, we see every week from people. All right. You can see here, 50K in a week, portfolio up 110,000, recoup everything. These are DMs that I've received just recently, $120,000 in profit from Trump. One of our new members made $45,000 in 2 weeks. It just goes on and on and on. And why? Well, we're good at what we do, but we don't bullshit. Like it's just reality because we're doing it ourselves. All right. And these aren't whales. These are everyday time poor investors with their own life, career, family. Matthew, no, we don't use leverage. We don't do spot trading. We're not traders. We don't do trading. There's a million, shitty traders you can go and follow online. We don't do any of that. We're actually genuinely trying to build long-term wealth for people. Recently, in terms of my hourly rate, I charge nearly $4,000 an hour to teach at a university about crypto. I get paid tens of thousands of dollars to speak on podcasts. Here's another screenshot from my P&L. You can see here, this is 7,000, 10,000. Again, not to show off, but just to legitimately say that, I really value my time and we're very good at what we do and we charge for it. But I really care about working and helping our clients. And our clients pay us $15,000 directly to work with us. And we have over 150 platinum clients at the moment. And when they join, they come from all different lives. Doesn't matter who they are, it's the process, right? And they follow the system. Right, Chris Judd's a member of ours. He uses Collective Shift. I know there was a Baggers. Matthew, go Baggers. You probably know Chris Judd pretty well. All right, he actually has a family office that he manages and uses Collective Shift to help him with the crypto, investments in the asset class to help him every day. All right, and also Ken, he made $50,000 in a week. He's been a Collective Shift member for 2 years. Again, not everyone's going to come in and make $50,000 a week. I'm not trying to show that. I'm trying to show you, some amazing results, but also normal results. All right, and he's excited to work with us. And since working with us, he's seen a 50K increase alongside his investments. Chris, he paid off his mortgage. He actually worked one-on-one with me as a platinum client. He's a busy guy. He's a consultant. He works in tech with his family, not a crypto guy, but I helped him pay off his mortgage and sell Bitcoin at the November top last year. And you can see these success stories on the Masterclass page on our website. These are videos. You can go and watch them. Kieran lives in Bali. He's a busy guy, runs his own business. He invested at the exact worst time and he's up 2.5x since working with us. All right. You needed a strategy and we were able to fix it. Peter talked about it's the perfect service for any investor who wants hands-on tailored advice. All right. He talks about how we're the perfect service to anyone that really wants to help their goals met in the cryptocurrency space. Jaden's his third bull market, bag profits every single bull run, made life-changing amounts of money. Jason was staring at 80% loss. Now he's up 2.5x. There's so many, right? I really want to get through these so we can get into the content. And hopefully you're keen to see how this works, because it's not about the person, it's about the process. And today we're going to share that very, very soon. So everything's going to be covered today, all right? But here are the challenges I know that are getting in your way. You're time poor. You're running a business, or you have a family. You can't keep up. You don't have a clear exit strategy. You don't know what to buy. You don't know when to sell. You're overwhelmed by the conflicting advice. All right. I've already been burnt before, right? You've joined a paid group. Maybe, who knows? All right. You've joined someone else. You've been burnt. I know there's a lot of crappy groups out there, and you're scared of making the wrong move. I need a clearer path for what platforms and projects to use it on, which exchange. You may think you might miss the boat. Is it too late? If I had to guess, it's probably you. All right. The biggest one is time, confidence. You should have trusted your gut. You held too long and round tripped. You got a bag of altcoins you have no idea what to do with, and you're scared you're going to do it again. All right. And you're stuck watching YouTubers and Twitter threads doing the same old, and you don't know what to do. If any of that sounds like you, you're in the right place. I know this is you because I read all of your comments of what you're saying you need challenges with. So we're going to help you fix all of this today. All right. So my goal for you today is to take you from time poor, worried about missing the top, no sell strategy, to really knowing how to structure your portfolio, save time, not have to try and trade your way and spend a bunch of time in the charts, and have a sell plan to avoid round tripping again. All right. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that all today with my team, the same systems, Matt and Simon, Checkmate, everyone, to help you do that for ourselves and our clients. All right, we'll walk through the full step-by-step blueprint on how to build a multi-6-figure and 7-figure portfolio. All right. Now, why do few people actually win in crypto if there's unlimited information? Remember I asked you the process or the person? There's literally unlimited amounts of information. Why aren't any of you jumping on Google, YouTube, ChatGPT? You're probably already doing it. There's so much information out there. There's so much to be overwhelmed by, because information is just generally not enough. All right, you can scroll Twitter, you can binge YouTube, you can do whatever, but without a strategy and a proven process, it all collapses. If you go and try and build a house without a plan, it's not going to work. I know that's obvious. You go and try and build a business without a strategy. All right, if you're going to go drive the car without a destination, you're not going to get there. You need a plan to build and work towards to actually crush it. And this is where most investors fall down. They have no strategy, no sell plan, buy random shit altcoins that influencers pump online. They try to do it all alone. They're time poor and they round trip it all. Right? And the truth is, it's not about the person, it's about the process. The person is not the variable, the process is. All right, follow the right process, get the right results. As my camera just goes again, I'm not sure what's going on with my camera. We'll fix that. All right. But the big thing is, as we go through, I want to give you the what and the how, but if you don't have the why, you're going to see every potential, all the results, all right? But you're not going to do anything different. I really want to win. All right, I really want you to win today. So let me ask you, why are you here? Is it to retire early, provide for your family, finally win back the losses and prove yourself you can do it? That was me. Take back control of your time and income, follow a strategy you can trust. Whatever your reason is today, I'm going to really show you how to do it. All right. But I want to be super transparent. And I know there's already people asking, oh, is this just a big pitch for your services? I'm going to be 100% transparent with all of you as to why on earth would we do this all for free? Why would we spend weeks and weeks and weeks putting all this summit together, run a bunch of ads, bring everyone on, and try and just give a bunch of stuff away for free? Why on earth would I do that? Well, I'm here to make money as well. All right. Let's be real. We want you to make money. All right. And we're also here to make money. However, the opportunity is now and the market is moving. And if you don't act, honestly, the bull market we think is going to be wrapped up in the next 6 to 12 months, which we'll talk about in the insights in a second. But our business model is super simple. The way we work is we charge a subscription fee for our research, our coaching, and our memberships. If you make money, you stay, we get paid. If you don't, you leave, we don't. That's the only way it works. We don't do affiliates, no shields, no paid promotions. We are literally 100% independent. We don't get paid to promote coins, products, anything. If we don't make our clients money, they leave and cancel. We have a money back guarantee. We don't make any money. We only make money if our clients succeed based on the value we deliver. All right. So if I help you win, if we help you win, we both win. That's the only way it works. That's why we do these free masterclasses, to give you as much real, actionable value as possible, to help you capitalize on this cycle and not miss out. So you actually go, oh shit, maybe these guys actually know what they're talking about. I got a bunch of value. And then you might decide, maybe I'll have a look and see what they do. All right. But there's very limited spots that we actually work with clients. So for 95% of you that don't fit our programs, you're just going to walk away with a bunch of free information. And I genuinely want you to take away this information and win. All right. So if I can just pound all this value today, I want you to then take that away, implement it yourself. And maybe for those who are interested, shit, these guys might actually be, half good. I might check out what they want to do. All right. So you're going to see all the exact tools, strategies, frameworks going to be wrapped up in about 2.5 hours now. Everything you need to help win. And you get, again, you even hear from our platinum clients during the masterclass today, all the coaching done for your research and frameworks to help you a round trip. All right. We've also got some exclusive bonuses, exclusive to those that showed up today at the end, only available for you today. So I'm going to show and share with that right at the end, exclusive only for this session. All right. Because we have some really cool things. We're in the middle of the bull market and the time is honestly running out. So we want to help as many of us as we can. So we're going to have some exclusive bonuses at the end that I'll be sharing with you all today. All right, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, what to expect today. We're going to move really fast. Our goal is to give you everything you need to succeed. Make sure you're prepared. It could be overwhelming. Take notes. If you're here to get the next 10x, get a moon Lambo overnight, all this sort of stuff, that is not for you. There's no false promises, no hype, just strategy to help you not round trip and make a bunch of money. All right, we brought together all of our experts to help you today. The core things, I'm nearly done, right? These are the core things I'm going to get on to Matt and Simon to talk about the market and altcoins and everything you need. This is what we're going to cover. A proven step-by-step portfolio strategy to know how to structure your portfolio. The best blueprint, all right? The best blueprint you need to go and walk away and build it for yourself. Research-backed, curated market insights. We're going to share all the insights we have from our team, how we got a 10x on Syrup, how we found Solana early, and what we have upcoming. So if you think you missed the boat, we're going to talk about that. A bulletproof exit plan, right? Everything you need so you don't second guess. How to build your portfolio. I'm going to share this at the end. How to build a 7-figure portfolio for time-poor people. So if you're busy, I'm going to share at the end. All right, the last hour, I'm going to be going into detail on how to actually grow your portfolio. If you're a business owner, you get a lot of money in crypto, but you have no time. I'm going to share with you the blueprint I use with our clients, as well as all the altcoins and narratives and sectors for 2025, plus my wealth creation framework. For those of you who want passive income, you have been lied to in crypto. All right. It doesn't exist easily. So I'm going to share with you my wealth creation framework on how I'm preparing and how I'm buying and building my portfolio to generate income and grow my crypto without risking and betting the farm. I'm going to share all of that at the end. All right. Everything you need today to help you succeed. You're going to meet a bunch of people that we work with between 250,000 and 30 million. They're making hundreds of thousands of dollars from following the system. All right. And again, it's not about your age, not about your background, your knowledge. It's about having the right process and insights. And just by being here today, genuinely, you're going to learn so much more than 99% of people. Are you ready to rumble? Let's go. Enough waffling from me. We bring up Matt and Simon. Gentlemen, very excited to bring you guys up. We're first off the bat, we're going to talk about the market. The market's pumping, boys. It's very, very exciting. I'm keen to hear what you guys are looking at. I know Sui's pumping today, Bitcoin 120,000 and staying solid at the top, by the way. So exciting times.
Yeah, we're definitely in price discovery mode, which is always very, very exciting to be in. And everyone's asking the question, how high can Bitcoin go? That's always going to be a common thing at this point in time. And, the market follows Bitcoin. So your portfolios are probably looking pretty healthy. You've already got a bit invested in crypto right now. And we'll talk about where we see it going. And I think Matt will probably agree with me. I think there's more upside coming up.
Totally agree. So I'm going to hand over to Matt and Simon. They're going to go through the market for 30 minutes. Then I'm going to come back on and we'll implement and share with you the next session. But Matt and Simon are going to go through the market, altcoins, narratives. Make sure you get some questions in the chat, and I'll leave you guys to it. Over to you, Matt and Simon. You're on mute, Matty.
Matt, you're muted, Matty.
Thanks very much, Ben. We'll get our slides up here. And of course, we'll share our outlook on the remainder of this bull market, which we feel like is really starting to kick into gear. I'm not sure, Josh, there, if you're able to get the slides up. But yeah, Simon, I think we'll also be talking about selling as well. So sell strategy is a lot of what we do at Collective Shift, preparing to exit this bull market is something that we're really focused on as a team, but we also think there's plenty of opportunities.
Hey, Matty, I might get Simon to give us a bit of an overview. Matty, I think we need you to share your screen on the slides, mate, if you've got those in front of you.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Simon, I want to talk about, before we kick off, mate, like with Bitcoin pumping and moving so fast, like a lot of people are thinking they missed the boat. I know you're about to get into some data, but mate, the market's flying and we're not seeing retail really interested at all. Like the retail metrics are still dead, which is so exciting.
Yeah, and so that potentially shows that there's a lot more excitement and I guess late people to the cycle. But we'll put some realism in it. Like we're not early to the market anymore either. So we're going to show on some of the slides, a lot of the price movements has already kind of happened in this cycle so far, but we're going to give you some reasons why we still think there's more time to go. And it's kind of that thing of, we're not going to, lie to you here and just think everything's going to keep going up, but there is definitely still more movement in this market and there's plenty of catalysts as to why that is. And, I really can't wait to get into this. So there's the slides up, Matty. Let's jump in, shall we?
Nice work.
Let's go. First things first, a bit of a refresh on where we've been and previous cycles. What are we looking at here, Simon?
So we are looking at the 3 cycles that we've kind of had in crypto since it's kind of been mainstream. So the 2017 cycle is that first one on the left, the 2021 cycle in the middle, and kind of where we are now. And I think this graph kind of shows where we are reasonably well in the cycle. They're similar months in 2017, 2021, and 2025 there. But I think this graph does kind of show what I was just explaining before, in that we are probably closer to the top of this cycle than we are at the start of it. And we are getting, diminishing returns to a degree is the word that a lot of people use. Bitcoin just can't keep going up at the multiples that it's been going up at because of the huge adoption that's been going on. So we're kind of seeing ourselves here, that's probably saying 3/4 of the way through this cycle at the moment is probably where that graph is indicating. And I kind of think that it's pretty fair. What are your thoughts, Matt? You reckon we are about 3/4 of the way through this cycle?
Yeah, if that, even a bit earlier than that, between 2/3, 3/4 of the way through. And yeah, we see that comment as well, Mr. Singh. So yeah, that's basically where we are. I think altcoins typically have their strongest run at the end of the cycle. Of course, Bitcoin needs to put in a lot of groundwork, and that is what has happened in the past, multiple years. And we still think there's more exciting times ahead for Bitcoin too. So if you can share your screen there, Simon, if you can.
Yeah, let's get into that. I'll go show some of the charts that I wanted to show people. This one here. So
yeah, Luke, that was really to illustrate the timing going back using previous cycles. There's not much to go off on crypto in that respect, but the past 2 cycles, the timing is sort of overlapping.
So I've lost Matt. There we go. That's what we want to look at, isn't it? So we've talked about before that we are not technical analysis guys. So we're not going to teach technical analysis, but that doesn't mean that we don't understand the market pretty well and how to read a graph. And so that's kind of what I'm going to show now to you is basically what I'm seeing on the graphs. And I'm just setting my screens up so I can see this properly. So this here's the Bitcoin chart. And so I guess what I want to focus on the Bitcoin chart here is that these are weekly candles. So every one of those green or red candles is a week's worth of price action. And so we kind of can see 2 distinct things, I feel, since the start of start of January 2024, is we've had these 2 significant rises here. And maybe I'll just draw on that for us so we can see it a bit better. So we have one big push here and another big push here. And these are the kind of things I've been watching in the market. And there's lots of macro reasons to why these kind of things happen. So back in December, January 2024 there was when we had the Bitcoin ETFs launched. And so that was a big moment in the market where it allowed traditional markets much more easier access to get in. And so that had a huge pump. And so that was from a period of long consolidation previously. And then, the markets just don't keep going up forever as much as people would like it. We had a long period of accumulation in the middle there where we just kind of went sideways. And now sideways for Bitcoin is actually a lot of volatility. We're talking about 20, 30% ups and downs. That's sideways action for Bitcoin, whether people like it or not. That's just the reality of it. And then again, November last year, we had another huge push up there. And these pushes up, they feel like in hindsight, they happened really fast, but it does take several weeks of this go. There's a lot of euphoric moments around it. And so this push here was, predominantly put down to Donald Trump getting elected. So Donald Trump was very much so known as being the pro-crypto president. That was very much on his agenda as part of his election campaign. So him getting voted in obviously made everyone in crypto quite excited. And so we had a large push up there again. And so we've had those 2 large push-ups. And I'm kind of looking for that right now to see where we're at that, because I've got a feeling that we're in another one of those moments right now. I do think that we're actually going to have another big push up here at this period of time here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that similar kind of move there up into this range here. That's what I'm kind of expecting right now. We had another long accumulation period there. Yes, with a big, big downturn there, predominantly around Trump's tariffs, where markets in general got scared. But we're past that point in time. And so I think there's been a lot of pressure here. And a lot of the macro reasons we'll talk about coming up in our presentation here, we'll talk very much so around why we think there's a big push coming for Bitcoin here. And the reason why I'm really kind of tending that way now is because there's a lot more certainty in the market. Markets in general don't like uncertainty. Donald Trump's tariffs was very uncertain for everybody. And so I think that kind of news is behind us. And now all people are looking for is the good news ahead of us there. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see a few weeks here of green in the road pushing prices up. And I think it's something to look forward to in the market. Might show a few other graphs there. Let's look at some of the bigger ones that we'll talk about as far as altcoins concerned. So this is Hyperliquid. This is probably one of the newest blockchains out there, and it's something that we are very excited about as far as an investment opportunity. It had a airdrop launch, so really, took off from the hype, the usage of it. Massive downturn again, but it's taken off. And so what I really like about Hyperliquid here, compared to a lot of altcoins out there, is that it's also at its all-time highs. And so that's important. So while Bitcoin is at its all-time highs, up here, it's spreading into, price discovery. What we're looking for in other altcoins is other ones that are also pushing high and in price discovery, because outperformance now is going to equal outperformance in the future. So Hyperliquid was a very interesting one. Sui is also another interesting one, which has done really well of late. It is not quite price discovery. It's fairly close, but I'm really keen on seeing that one. And we'll talk more about Sui and Hype later as to why we're really excited about them. But they're two we're really interested in. Matt, you want any thoughts on the charts, or should we get back to the slides?
No, let's keep cracking with the slides, and there's some good questions there as well in terms of Bitcoin's price, right? It's now very expensive for many people. I still run into people thinking that you need to buy an entire Bitcoin, either 0 or 1, not knowing that it is divisible. But there are things like ETFs now, which the cost of a share of an ETF now, for many of them, the way they're structured, that does remove that sort of unit bias or the scary moment of having to, even though it's not true, that feeling of having to pay 120,000 US for one Bitcoin. There's things like the BlackRock ETF now, which is $63 per share or per unit, for example. So things like that, I think and just general increased understanding of Bitcoin, which has happened over time, of people now realizing that you can buy a portion of a Bitcoin. But yeah, I still do run into that pushback, surprisingly. Like, it's surprisingly common still in 2025. This is also something that, at Collective Shift, I think what makes us rather unique is our ability to draw upon different forms of analysis in crypto. It is a very new space, as you would all be aware of. It's still lacking those valuation methodologies and some real standardization. So to sort of help inform our decisions of where the market is going, certainly on-chain is one aspect of it that Checkmate will be on after us. And he's a real specializes in on-chain analytics. But again, just referring back to our past cycles, there's various reasons of why this cycle is different, and there are some similarities, of course. One of the really strongest, most powerful momentum indicators, or at least a traditional sort of cycle top metric, is the MVRV. Yes, there's some reasons why it may not be as high signal as in the past, but I certainly am still looking at it closely as one, I guess, ingredient into my own decision making. And at the moment, a lot of the on-chain indicators, as Checkmate will get into very shortly, are sort of getting up into that moderate sort of temperature. They're not quite, up to an extreme heat, or they're not really, flaring off any signals to suggest like, hey, this is getting into complete euphoria. However, we are getting closer to that stage. So this is something that we take into consideration when assessing, the outlook for Bitcoin, as well as some projects out there as well. But overall, we are very bullish, and I certainly am as well, and I'm positioned as such for prices in the overall crypto market to continue higher throughout 2025 and maybe even beyond. So for Bitcoin in particular, for anyone who's new to this space, and is looking to make some quick dollars elsewhere in altcoins or things like that, you do need to understand that Bitcoin really does need to carry the market higher. It doesn't have to, but in my opinion, it does. For any altcoins to see some serious gains over a quick time span. So we are still very bullish and positioned as such on Bitcoin, and there's some altcoins that we think will sort of go along for that ride. So reasons why we think Bitcoin is still has a lot of momentum left in it is this corporate accumulation of Bitcoin. This was simply a non-factor in previous bull markets. We've got the likes of Michael Saylor going on media interviews almost every day and just spreading the word about Bitcoin, and also various copycats. Strategy, or formerly known as MicroStrategy, of course, is the one that if anyone knows any of these companies, they're the one they know about. But the main takeaway here is there's still plenty of capital still to come in terms of buy-side pressure for Bitcoin for the purpose of accumulation and long-term holding. So that's particularly pleasing, and that's something that has an immediate effect on the buy side when you're talking about Bitcoin's outlook. So multiple billions still to come in terms of demand for Bitcoin. Of course, the popularity of the Bitcoin ETFs, historically, they were approved in the very start of 2024 after roughly a decade of failed attempts. So just think about that for a second. Multiple dozens and dozens of failed ETF applications throughout 2014, 15, 16, all the way up till early 2024 when they got approved. It was seriously a landmark, like a milestone for Bitcoin over its life cycle. All of those failed attempts, it was a big, big legitimizer. And it still gets repeated as a factor to be excited about the outlook for Bitcoin's price, but it really does deserve like a repetitive sort of mention because of the sheer impact on not just prices in terms of like demand unlocking, but actually the legitimacy of the outside world and more like larger pools of capital who now take a second or third look at Bitcoin now that it got this tick of approval historically in the US earlier last year. So yeah, the buy side pressure from that is seriously still being underrated, I think, by the market. When you look at charts like this, just a few days ago, we had the BlackRock ETF, which is the biggest of the Bitcoin ETFs. So just to really simplify it, the more demand for these ETFs out there, which are listed on your ASX sort of style exchanges in various countries, the more demand for those are, the more that these ETF issuers, in this example, BlackRock, they need to buy all of this Bitcoin to essentially keep a one-to-one peg for the demand for their products. So this yellow line here is BlackRock's product, and it got to 80 billion US just earlier this week. And here are the previous record, the previous ETFs that broke the record for quickest ETF to get to 80 billion. So BlackRock's, as you can see, broke that record, and it's nearly 5 times as fast as the previous record holder, which again, just gives you an understanding of just the sheer demand in the outside world, outside of crypto's little bubble for the likes of Bitcoin now. And it's really, I do need to pinch myself to see how far it's come. And again, there's various reasons why access to these particular products is only going to improve and open throughout the rest of 2025 and into 2026. I think that's still something the market and investors just don't really understand, that access to these products is still more limited than what people assume. So this is something that I'm also very excited about for the rest of this year. Maybe just quickly, Simon, some of these other reasons why we're still bullish.
So it's not just the institutions and retail using those ETFs, it's also the US federal government is talking about buying Bitcoin. So that is pretty massive in itself. If the largest economy government decides to buy Bitcoin, they have said that they're not going to sell the Bitcoin that they own, and they own some 200,000 Bitcoin. They said they're not going to sell it; they're going to keep it as a strategic asset. So that is, a large clump of the supply held up. But they are talking about the potential for how they can buy more Bitcoin at no cost to the taxpayer. How they do that, I don't know. This is a government magic trick potentially, but that is a huge bullish signal, because if the US government are going to want to buy Bitcoin like they own gold as a reserve to their currency, then the other governments will want to follow suit. And maybe plenty of them are actually front running it right now. There's probably plenty of countries out there that don't need to announce spending programs like this, like a lot of the Western societies do, who are probably accumulating Bitcoin in the background. But it's not just the US federal government either. The US states are also doing it, which is pretty impressive. They're going out on their own and they're actually implementing laws for the state governments to buy Bitcoin as a reserve asset. And so you got to remember there on this graph here, it's showing the ones that have approved it, which is like Arizona and Texas and New Hampshire. I think is that one on the top right in the green. And you got to remember, like the Texas, GDP is probably larger than Australia. So it's not exactly like Texas's buying power is small. It's a huge amount of money that these states can actually implement. And so there's a lot more in the blue where they're still going through their regulation and their voting process to get it through. But the state governments in the US are front running the US governments, the federal government. So that's a huge buying pressure if these places are doing. And these guys are long-term holders. They're not going to sell these Bitcoin anytime soon. So they're very much so like MicroStrategy. These institutions are holding for long term. So that's a huge demand sucking up all the supply. It's incredibly bullish for crypto. And I think you'd be crazy to think that other countries aren't following the same.
Yeah, so again, even though we've run up so much in price recently, another major reason why I personally just aren't even considering selling at these prices, and in fact, I'm really expecting the momentum to continue throughout at least the rest of this year, is stablecoin adoption and just more mainstream adoption from big fintechs out there, such as Stripe, and payment providers like Mastercard, Visa, various other banks as well are starting to experiment with blockchain technology and continue to do so after recent years. But in particular, for short term, look out for more stablecoin adoption. So they are essentially dollars in the form of built on blockchain technology. Really unlocks a lot of use cases in crypto and can help really accelerate adoption. So now we've got US becoming a lot more friendly towards the crypto space. The more innovation that they can unlock and encourage in particular, and the more certainty they can provide these large companies that we all recognize, it will be much, much better for the outlook for crypto. So even as soon as July, like the end of this month, I would expect some developments in this area as well.
And I would say that stable coins is something that I guess we don't think about that much. If people don't know what a stablecoin is, it's a crypto token that's backed by a US dollar. So it's 1-to-1. So it's actually a stablecoin backed by US dollars. The reason why the US want to get on this is because people kind of know that the US is the world reserve currency, and stablecoins are basically allowing even more adoption globally of the US dollar. There's plenty of economies out there who have really poor economies and they actually use paper money of the US dollar. People have been to South America, Africa. There's lots of places that use US dollars. Well, now they can use them on their phone, these stable coins. And so the US government really want to make sure that they're leading the charge and that their US dollar remains the most used currency. And stablecoins is the best use case we've had of blockchain so far. So I think this is a huge one. I think it's going to really, allow mass adoption of crypto simply because now we've got a more safer way of using stablecoins.
Yeah, for sure. This is arguably the most powerful reason, why I'm still excited about the outlook for crypto, and that is the macro environment. We're getting to a point where the US is stopping quantitative tightening. So the effect of that has been, a challenge for asset prices. So that is wrapping up. Some are expecting it in the back end of this year, potentially early next year. But when that is announced, that will again be something that's very pro liquidity and just helping asset prices globally. We're also seeing monetary supply increasing at the moment. That's mostly a cause of the US dollar weakening. So when US dollar goes down or is weaker, traditionally, historically, asset prices globally and particularly risky assets tend to perform better. So you'll often see money supply graphs out there overlaid with Bitcoin's price. I think it can be widely misunderstood in terms of it's not really a causal factor. It is more so it's trying to communicate conditions where Bitcoin and crypto tend to perform best in. So just because global money supply goes up, it definitely doesn't mean Bitcoin goes up immediately. It's more so explaining the conditions. And when money supply is going up and US dollar is weakening, and that's certainly the trend that we are seeing, that's certainly another reason why I expect risky asset prices such as crypto to really explode once we see those continuing. And we should see an acceleration of that in the coming months once the US Federal Reserve cuts rates even further, as they're expected to throughout the remainder of this year and into next year. Another reason why, again, some people may be thinking of even selling as part of this recent pump, but again, we think that would be very premature, is the simple fact, and some people have asked about it in the questions here, and thanks for submitting these questions, and keep those comments firing, everyone. Just interest in Bitcoin or crypto is still at near multi-year lows, which again is a big opportunity. If it was the opposite, I would be okay. There's actually some reason here to start thinking things are getting euphoric, but we are certainly not seeing anything like that. I know anecdotally, myself, I have not received any messages from people I wouldn't expect to ask me about Bitcoin and crypto, and talking with other people in the industry, they're telling me the same thing, which is again a big untapped area of demand that has historically come to crypto when conditions are really favorable in the economy. So that's certainly another factor that you should take into account when you're thinking about where prices can go from here. So worth monitoring that for sure. All right, altcoins. I'm seeing a lot of questions to do with altcoins as well. We'll cover some of them in the next minutes. But of course, that collective shift, many of you who've been in the crypto market a while would know that we had those really favorable, economic conditions, those macro conditions, back throughout COVID. Money was very easy to access. There was a lot of money sloshing around in the global economy, and crypto had a really exciting time, NFTs as well. And I still think it does surprise people to hear that others here, which represents the global cryptocurrency market, if you deduct the top 10 cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, of course, that index is still well down from its previous heights 4 or so years ago. Even if we look at the hysteria, the euphoric sort of conditions that started to arise at the end of last year, we're still nearly half. The market cap is nearly half what it was. So conditions have been very difficult for altcoins, particularly those older ones from previous cycles who are more or less zombie companies. They continue to exist because they raised a lot of money, but their price performance, due to token unlocks and various other reasons, they just have not performed. I think rightly so in many respects, but it's made asset selection very, very important in this bull market. And I don't really see that changing. In other words, I don't really see us getting to an environment where all altcoins are just surging in price together. I still think we're going to be experiencing a bull market where you need to be selective with those altcoins. So that's why, as a research team at Collective Shift, I've been very proud of the projects we have chosen to cover. And they have been among the best performers in the entire market so far this bull market. But Simon, if you could maybe get your screen up here, and there's some of them, of course, Syrup being our one that we've been covering for many years now, and Hype, as Simon did talk about earlier, that has been on a very strong run since those Liberation Day lows that we did see. And as you can see there, even Bitcoin itself is outperforming the broader altcoin index in recent months. So those have been some really nice wins, and I am still confident on basically all of these names over the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, an important thing to see there is the ones that are outperforming Bitcoin. I think that comes up a lot when it comes to altcoin selection. And it's like, if you are not outperforming Bitcoin, then there's not a lot of point in investing in those assets. I was going to share my screen, Matt. It's not quite sharing. Have you got control of that at the moment or not? Or maybe Josh can get my screen share up? Or is it that button there? Add to the stage. There we go.
There we go.
All right. Teething problems for me and knowing how to use it. Okay, so I'm going to just, reveal behind the scenes a little bit of what Collective Shift platform looks like as we talk about altcoins here. So, here is just a dashboard where you can, put in your portfolio. So, as example portfolios are built here. You can, choose your coins that you've got, the amount you've held, and I'll give you a lovely little breakdown of it. You can do more than one portfolio. So you might have a personal name, and you might have, your self-managed super fund. So you want to keep those separate portfolios, maybe it's your partners. And so that's kind of what we have there. And when it comes to altcoins, we have our research that we do on it. So we have our latest research, and this is kind of our featured reports at the top, which we talk about. And down here is, our most recent post, and this just goes in chronological order. We also have weekly Q&As, which we do. So that is for all members to be able to ask their questions, and Matt and me can dive into it and give our detailed responses to those questions that we got. But specifically on altcoins, we have what we call our shift list, which is where we've actually, had our selected coins that we think are going to do well, and often just community or member kind of voted ones that they want to be in there and have. And we have our ratings for them here. So we kind of have three categories of rating. We've got our rating, which is, basically telling us we're very bullish on it, slightly bullish, and all these kind of elements of it. We also have our risk categories, and we have our reward categories. And so this is our place to go to when you want to know on coins that we're interested in and what we think are going to do well. And so that basically is a dynamic calculation that goes on there. So these will actually change with the market. And so it's a really good insight to see of where coins are going and what's happening with them. And, we do go in. So I'll just go into Solana here, and you can see all the data and research that goes into this. We take a deep look at it, talking about the bullish cases behind each coin. We'll also talk about the bearish reasons behind it, and we update these on a regular basis, depending on, I guess, how excited we are about a coin is how often we'll tend to update these as well. But we're constantly monitoring the market to make sure that we agree with the current outlook and where it's going. So the shift list really is a strong place to be able to actually go in and have a detailed look of what's actually going on and what we think. And I guess for reference, to compare, basically our ratings here are basically all comparison to Bitcoin. So how do they compare to Bitcoin? Because, a slightly bullish outlook for some of these things could be enormous compared to traditional stock markets kind of thing. So take sometimes with a grain of salt what slightly bullish is until you're behind the scenes and can actually get a better understanding of it. So that doesn't mean that, we don't think it's going to go well, but it's just everything is compared to Bitcoin of how we see the world. So some really useful insights on altcoins of how we look at it and the amount of detail and data research that we go into it. We go back to your slides, Matt, because I think we are going to talk about some of our altcoins we're really interested in.
Yeah, Simon, I think the meme coin post as well, it's like I think people understand we have the shift list, which is ongoing research on certain projects, the majors in particular, but we certainly do individual team member posts from time to time. We're certainly not, some low cap, hidden gem sort of calls group or anything like that. But we are very selective when we do post about sort of altcoins in particular, or even things like meme coins. It's very selective, and in particular, it's considering what conditions the market is currently in. So we often get questions from people asking for meme coins and low cap sort of hidden gems and things like that. And yeah, it's not like we're posting them like every week and just like trying to pick all of these, and then months go by and we highlight the one that did really well. We're very selective, and overall this market cycle, I've been very happy with how we have gone on particular project selection.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we recommend everyone have a large percent of their portfolio in the large cap coins, but we spend 24/7 in the crypto space, so we are well aware of what's going on in meme coins. So this particular article that I wrote here is from a month ago, where I was highlighting 2 meme coins that I thought were going to do really well for the rest of the cycle. I'm just going to tease you with that. If you want to know what they are, you have to actually become a member. But we are aware of these things, and we do put small percentages of our portfolio into these plays because, yes, you can get really outsized returns on these, but you can often lose your money doing these kind of plays as well. So it's not necessarily for a time-poor investor. It's definitely higher risk, and we get these wrong all the time as well. But typically the ones that we get right way outperform and make up for all the ones you got wrong. So we are aware of all the coins that are going on. We do have a really good pulse on the market. So yeah, it's not just the large caps that we talk about and are interested in, but it's just a risk management by having most of your portfolio on those larger cap coins.
Yeah, we do have the trust and transparency page where every week we update material changes to our portfolios as well. We'll just quickly whip through and highlight in our last minute here 2 that we're still confident on for the rest of this bull market. We do have asset pages and further research into these particular projects, but Sui, well, even recently has had some good momentum, and I think that can continue certainly throughout 2025 if Bitcoin continues to really lead the way. It still has a lot of ingredients, and that I still think, and I know Simon does as well, should still keep it in good stead. Of quite simply people looking for the next version of Ethereum or the next version of Solana, I think is a very powerful, even though for a lot of newcomers, that sort of rationale is hard for them to understand. But believe me, after being so long in these markets, those sorts of factors definitely contribute to a project's ability to run very hard. On the other end of the spectrum, more fundamentals, rooted in fundamentals, I would say, is Hyperliquid, which is the one I'm most confident on still from a risk reward standpoint in terms of its upside. I still haven't seen a project after all these years generate so much revenue and also put that revenue back into the token itself in the form of buybacks. So Hyperliquid is arguably the most successful on-chain business out there. Pump Fund maybe a competitor as well, but there are few and far between of these on-chain projects that really generate any meaningful revenue without putting on these massive incentives. And Hyperliquid is one that still is generating so much in terms of revenue. We're talking in between around $500,000 and $3 million per day is going into buying hype off the open market. When you combine that with upcoming catalysts like Hyper EVM, which has really just got a significant upgrade earlier this month, which will essentially make Hyperliquid more similar to things like Ethereum Layer 2s and Solana in terms of using them for other more smart contract friendly applications. And also things on the supply side, such as minimal token unlocks, which again, so many of these altcoins, even some that people have asked about, have just been really just punished because of their heavy supply side factors of heavy unlocks. Hype is a unique one in the sense it doesn't have that constant pressure of sell side because the token only launched late last year. So they've still got that 1 year cliff waiting for that to activate before unlocks start to hit the market. And even then, those unlocks are proportionally significantly less than your average altcoin. So a lot of things to like about Sui and Hyperliquid in particular. And of course, we still do posts about certain meme coins and lower cap altcoins from time to time when we think the time is right.
Yeah, absolutely. And can I put up my screen again, Matt?
Yeah, sure.
So again, just to show our platform again, just to give you some insights on how we go about. We're data driven. We're not just coming up with these things just based off what we're seeing on Twitter or anything like this. So this was my post from September last year, talking about Sui and going into the data. And for people who just don't want to read, there is also an audio so you can listen to it rather than having to read all the lovely words I put down there. But we go and have a deep dive and we're looking at the data. We're comparing it with different chains. We're really digging deep into why these things are going well. So narrative and trend is a big thing, but so is the data that these things can produce for us. So we're not just coming at this from a zero knowledge basis. We really are comparing these things. And this one here was comparing Say at the time and Berachain, which was also quite popular back in the end of last year. But basically from the data and what I was looking at it, I basically said my conclusion here is that I think Sui is going to be the next big L1, and it kind of is proving that. Hyperliquid is also one that's actually really come out really well. And Hyperliquid here, we also have another deep dive into. This one was in April when I started talking about this. And April was, if I go to my chart here, that one there, April here when we started posting about it, is basically, if you can see that on the chart, guys, that's pretty much the lows there when Hyperliquid came in. So maybe my research changed the chart. What do you reckon, Matt? Probably not. But it's data-driven, guys. So we are looking at this. We are really having a really good idea of what the market's doing and why we like these tokens. And so there's lots of elements that you can get into there, and you can really learn along with us. Basically, we're sharing you our knowledge as we go through it. And so that's just a kind of insight into what goes on behind the scenes in our platform, guys.
Yeah, all right. We might get Ben back up here. And of course, I'm planning to sell 100% of my altcoins. And I know other team members are, in this bull market. And one big thing we're focused on is actually, communicating why, when that time comes, why we actually think it's a good time to start staggering out and why we're personally exiting our altcoin positions. Bitcoin, I don't think I'll touch. If anything, I might sell a small amount my position, but altcoins definitely, I do expect to go on a big sell-off like they have done historically. So wanting to be at 100% of them with the goal of continuing to accumulate Bitcoin over time, whether that's bull market or bear market.
Great presentation, boys. I'm super excited to get your sell strategy. So for those listening, we're nearly up to 1,400 live viewers, which is massive. Our biggest ever, I think, at this point, which is awesome. We're going to do a sell strategy component after we bring on our lead on-chain analyst, Checkmate, in just a second. So if you need help with your exit strategy, we're going to go through a step-by-step process very, very soon. But Matt and Simon, I think one question I want to answer, just because I've seen a bit of, in the chat, things around, previous coins, that people have bought into. Let's say something like Hype, for example. The market's changed. And, that was one that, I was looking at. We thought the gaming project was going to kick off. It didn't end up playing out that way. The gaming sector has really been one that we've had to kick down the line. The market changes. And we flipped the bearish. We sold that asset, a number of months ago. And that is how fast the crypto market is changing. So it's one of the things that we share on our platform. The shift list changed to bearish. We explain why. You don't always get it 100% right. But then what we did is we actually rotated Hype out into, we rotated Prime out into Hype, and, Hype's done 250% since we sold that. So, it's one of those things. It's like, that's why the information is so relevant and up to date, and you need those insights, because if you're not covering the market and when it changes, you really get left behind. So Thank you so much, gentlemen. We'll let you have a little bit of a break and bring you back on very soon for the sell strategy. Thank you so much. See you very, very soon. We'll get to questions as well soon, folks. If you have questions, leave it in the chat. But I'm very, very excited for the next guest we're bringing up. James Checkmate. He's our lead on-chain analyst at Collective Shift, also the lead analyst at Check On Chain, his own on-chain analyst platform. He's just been known as an OG Bitcoiner with his data-driven insights and commitment really to on-chain education. And if you're new to crypto and analysis, it's been such a different analysis style. You literally get to see on-chain what's happening with the money, what the whales are doing, what the retailers are doing. This is not available anywhere else. The banks keep all the records. There's no visible blockchain that you can actually go and do deep dives on. So Checkmate has been with us for a number of years now. He's absolutely epic. We'll bring him up if we can. Thanks, Josh. How are you, James? Good to see you.
G'day, mate. You can hear me all right?
I can see you very well. How good's the market, mate? It's exciting.
I love it.
It's good time to be an analyst.
It's it is. And it's a good time to be an analyst in the bear market too, because Bitcoin is one of those things, as you said, you just want to keep stacking it, right? And for me, that's where I'm at. Like, I'm 100% Bitcoin. It just, it tells you where the rest of the market's going. And that's what I think, we're going to be talking about today, is how to use Bitcoin as your compass, because where go Bitcoin, so go everything else. If Bitcoin's not healthy, nothing else is going to be doing very well. And if Bitcoin's doing well, sometimes everything else is still unhealthy. So at the very least, you know what Bitcoin's doing.
Yeah, brilliant. So I'm going to hand over to Checkmate. He's going to take us through for the next sort of 25 minutes or so. He's going to bring up some on-chain analysis charts, and maybe, very new to you. And honestly, this stuff is amazing in terms of being able to watch and see where the money's flowing. So we'll get to the sell strategy after Checkmate. So just want to make sure your screen share works on your side, James. So, yep, good to go. Handing over to you, mate. All yours.
Let's rock and roll. Okay, so you can see my screen all right? Awesome. Okay, so what we're going to go through today, we'll close with some key pricing levels and where things start to get overheated. But what I really want to go through today is how we can actually look at the things that we all know happen. Smart money buys bottoms, smart money sells tops. Dumb money buys tops, dumb money sells bottoms. So this is this kind of human psychology that it makes sense when you hear it. But the beautiful thing about Bitcoin and the on-chain data that we have access to is we can actually visualize it. We can see people making very good decisions, and we can see a lot more people making really, really bad decisions. And for me, as someone who's been in this market for a long time, this information helps me track and understand where are we in the cycle, because when dumb people are doing dumb things, it's usually a sign we're getting a bit frothy. And likewise, when all those speculators are gone and all you're left with are the smart money, it's generally a much, much lower risk environment, because you're left in the trenches with only hodlers. So we'll talk about this. It's very much about using data to make better decisions. And something I want to go into this with, and just keep this in the back of your mind, none of us can predict the future. Nobody, no matter who they are, no matter how much data they have, no one can predict the future. The only thing you can control are your decisions. That's the only thing you can control. So use this as a tool to really think about how are you going to make decisions. And the narrative on Twitter when we're at the top will be that there is no top. How do you cut through that noise and have the confidence to say, well, I know everyone says there's no top, but kind of looks like a top. So we're going to start with 4 really core building blocks. And this will sound really obvious when I say it, but here it's really powerful because we can actually see it playing out. So smart money, they buy low and then they sell high. Speculators, they buy high and then they inevitably sell low. And importantly, they buy the top and then they sell in a loss. Whereas smart money, they buy low and they sell in a profit. So we can use both of those dynamics. There's a metric called the realized cap, which is just the ultimate health gauge. If the realized cap for Bitcoin is climbing, thumbs up. If it's not climbing, not so great. We see people take profit near bull market tops. What actually puts a top in? Too much sell side, not enough demand. So let's actually look for those things. When do we have too much sell side and not enough demand? And the other one is that people who buy high, they sell low. And it's funny because they all sell on the same day. When we saw FTX explode, everybody who had bought the top of that cycle capitulated, and they all did it on the same day. And the smart money came in and bought that dip. So we can actually visualize these things, gives us a lot more confidence about what is going on. So I mentioned the realized cap, and this is really the on-chain market cap. What we do is rather than valuing every coin in the supply at the price when it last at the spot price, we look at every coin and we value it when it last transacted. And what's powerful about this, if someone buys a coin at 10,000 and sells it at 100,000, someone else had to come in with 90,000 extra dollars to buy the same coin. It's a capital inflow. So this orange trace that you can see here, this is the realized cap. And you can see we are getting very, very close to $1 trillion. If you bought your coin at 50,000 and you still hold it, it's valued at 50,000. That's how much you saved in the asset. So when we see this market, the realized cap climbing, it is telling us that people are continuing to invest capital. Bitcoin is absorbing money. It's a great thing. It happens during bull markets. Now, during bear markets, notice in 2021, it started to plateau and then started to decline. This is telling us we are no longer getting capital inflows. And then we actually started getting people who bought high selling low. So you're getting that capital outflow from the system. So as a very, very simple depth gauge, if realized cap is climbing, which right now it is ripping to the upside, moving towards $1 trillion, the market's in a very, very healthy place. Once it starts to plateau, we start moving into a more cautious regime. So it's a nice way just to think about these things. Now, on any one particular day, the 2 pieces that go into that realized cap are people taking profit, which is a capital inflow because someone's literally selling a coin for more value, but someone's got the buyer is injecting more cash. On the flip side, in bear markets, notice these big red capitulation events. This is what I was talking about. Notice FTX. Everybody who bought at the top of the cycle, they sell at the exact wrong time. When we see these signals, it's a fantastic contrarian signal. Now, interestingly, a lot of people, and I've showed this to many folks, they look at this green line and they say, oh, I should buy when this is high. No, the green line is actually telling you that people are selling who've bought their coins a long time ago. They're taking very, very large profit. That is the thing that puts tops in. Now, as you can see, there are many tops. There are many tops along our journey to finally putting in the top. And we never know which top is the top. We're going to cover that shortly, trying to define between a correction and a dip. But we can see when lots and lots of people are selling. So from a very, very simple standpoint, if I don't want to buy the top anymore, I'm probably not going to buy when lots and lots of people are taking profit. On the other hand, if I see a big signal where lots of people are capitulating, it's a much, much healthier environment and it's a much lower risk environment. Now, what is it that actually motivates people to sell? Because we can also start to look ahead and say, well, how profitable do people need to be before we actually start taking profit? So MVRV is probably a metric you've heard. If you've followed any on-chain data, you'll encounter this at some point in time. The best way to think about MVRV, it's price divided by the realized price, or it's the market cap divided by the realized cap. What it actually means, because that's a whole lot of words, what it actually means is paper gains. The higher this ratio is, the more paper gains are in the system. And when everybody's in the system is starting to feel pretty profitable, they're all looking at their portfolio and they're saying, wow, that's a big green number. At some point, people are going to start selling. So think about unrealized profit or MVRV. It's the incentive. The higher it is, the bigger the incentive there is for people to start selling. Now, we have a system metric to it. So MVRV is telling us about paper gains, paper profit, incentives. Realized profit, or SOPA, which is the system metric, tells us about, are they actually selling? Because if they're not selling, it's very, very hard to put a top in if nobody is selling. But inevitably, when people are profitable and their portfolio is very large, they will start selling. And notice that SOPA, which is the amount of profit taking that's occurring, it also tends to peak in and around tops. But it also works as a dip signal, because when we get lots of people who bought high selling low, that's usually a fantastic time. It means we're getting a capitulation event. We're getting a washout of the speculators, people who don't really know why they own Bitcoin. They're just here because they want to get rich quick. They're the typical folks who will buy high, sell low. And for me as a long-term hodler, that's where I jump in. I love to trade the contrarian. And by the way, I'm not a trader. I write, I talk, all of my work is actually designed for hodlers, because at the end of the day, all of us want to stack as much Bitcoin as we can. And I've bought a few too many tops in my time. I actually just want to flip this thing around and say, well, I'm going to wait for other people to buy the top, and I'm going to buy their coins off them when they capitulate at the lows. And that's really what these tools help us do. So they're the 4 components. We're looking at the realized cap. We're looking at paper gains. We're looking at sell side pressure at tops and bottoms. They're the 4 puzzle pieces. And now we're going to move on and actually start applying them in the real. Now, there's another set of tools that we can use that just helps us navigate, because how do you know where we are in the cycle? It's very difficult because, are we too high? Are we too low? Are we right in the middle? There's 2 price models that can just give us a really simple framework to think about the market. And that's called the short-term holder cost basis and the true market mean. And we're going to use these just very quickly to just explore market structure. And really, we're just looking for, when should we shift our bias? So the 2 models are the short-term holder cost basis. Now, short-term holders in the world of on-chain data, we've looked at the statistics. When a coin has been held for 5 months or more, it generally stays held. Any coin that's under 5 months old is much, much more likely, like orders of magnitude more likely to be spent and sold and traded and transacted. So we just bifurcate the market into people who recently bought within the last 5 months and people who bought more than 5 months ago. So think about the short-term holder cost basis in the red. It tends to trade through the middle. And notice that in bears, it's resistance because people are just selling at their cost basis. I want my money back, get me out of this thing. And it tends to provide support or act as this kind of middle ground in this particular cycle. It's showing us when people are a little bit tense. If the market's trading around their cost basis, they're going to be a little bit more sensitive. If it's much higher, they're feeling good, right? Sentiment's going to be high. Now, the other one's called the true market mean. I won't go into how we derive this because it's a little bit esoteric, but this is really the middle. This is the middle of Bitcoin. Statistically speaking, the Bitcoin price has spent 50% of its time above it, 50% below it. It oscillates around it. It is the center of gravity. So this is the level where this is where the average active investor is. It gets rid of Satoshi. It doesn't care about lost coins. It doesn't care about ancient coins. It's looking at the people who are actually moving around in the cycle. What is their middle ground? So let's stick with those 2 levels. The first, very, very simple rule. When the price is above the short-term holder cost basis, it is okay to be bullish. That is probably the most important thing. It is okay to be bullish. Why? Because literally every single bullish impulse ever has been above the short-term cost basis. It can go well and truly above it and then sell down to it. It can bounce off it. It can do all sorts of things. But at a very simple level, if we're above it, it is okay to be bullish. What's the flip side of that? Well, what happens when you break below it? Because at some point we will. And what we've seen, particularly this cycle, in previous cycles, we used to find support on it. This cycle is different. We are seeing a much more mature, corrections take longer, but they're not as deep. There's a whole lot of dynamics here. We're actually spending more time below it. So I would frame it up as be cautious. It's probably, you probably don't want to be FOMOing in because we may get more downside, but thus far we have recovered from dips below it. So it's not necessarily flip bearish. You can see here in 2020, start of 2022, yes, we should get bearish, but it got a lot worse later on. So the initial case is just be cautious. We're probably not you can be a bit more patient, but just be aware that we're not quite in, happy bull market territory anymore. And once we break below the true market mean, this is where things get really hairy. And you can see in 2022, it accelerated very quickly. We went from 50K down to 29K and then down to 17K very, very quickly. And then we spent more than a year trading below that level. So when we're below the true market mean, it really is bear market territory. But that is also the point of maximum opportunity. So if we just think about these levels, we can start to think, well, it's okay to be bullish. Once we break below, I'm a little bit cautious. I'm maybe not making so many risky decisions. Maybe I'm just being careful. If you are in altcoins, just be a bit more careful in those environments, because if Bitcoin's not feeling very well, altcoins are going to get slaughtered. So once we move into bear market territory, I mean, altcoins go to zero and Bitcoin continues, right? At some point, it will form a low, and we're looking for those hodlers to hit their point of maximum opportunity. And then obviously we flip across and things start to improve. Okay, so the second application, so we've got 2 more sections, and each one of these has got 4 charts in it. We're going to look at dips versus corrections versus bears. How do we distinguish between these things? Because that's a whole challenge into itself. And really, these next 2 sections, the first one's on dips and bears and corrections, and then we're looking at tops. At the end of the day, they're the 2 things that a lot of people, when we're really trying to navigate things, we want to know, should we step in front of this dip, or is this something a bit nastier? And then also, when are we getting a little bit overheated and things are increasingly risky? So corrections and dips, every dip and every bear market looks like a dip until it turns into a bear. We never know which one it's going to be. We have to assess the damage as the market pulls back. So obviously we can look and say when we hit some kind of extreme level, that's starting to signal a top. But as we come off the back of that, is it a dip? Is it a bear? That's what we want to answer here. How bad is the damage? And the worse the damage, the more likely the bear is to kick in. So this is a simple drawdown profile. We're looking at only the bull market. It's not comparing the drawdown from the all-time high. It's comparing it from the local high. So when we start from the bottom of this bull in 2015 or back here in 2018, what is the deepest correction that we've had? Now, if you look at the 2016-17 cycle in blue, we would regularly get 30%, 40% corrections. In the middle period here, this 2019, 2021, lots of these 30%, 40%, 50%, sometimes even 60%, really, really nasty stuff. This was a very, very volatile period. And as you can see, we are trading a lot more similarly to 2016-17. The thing that really stands out to me is that we are 100 times bigger in market cap size. For a quick stat, if you put Michael Saylor's and Strategy's balance and the ETFs together, that is the same as the market cap was like 2 days before the 2017 all-time high. So for a sense of scale, just the ETFs and Strategy have more value in their treasury right now than we had entire market cap at the 2017 top. Gives you a bit of perspective on things. And yet we've got a drawdown profile that looks just like we did when we were 100 times smaller. Really quite remarkable when you think about it. So you can see that these 2 periods, 2019, once we get below a 30% correction, things start to get a little bit hairy, right? This was my first, I bought the 2017 top. That's when I first got into Bitcoin. This was my first bear market where I just saw red for a year and a half. And then I finally got this relief rally, April to July. We went from 4K to 14K. I bought way too much at 14K. And then we had another bear market. So as things get below 30%, it gets a bit hairy. And this one in mid-2021, I'm actually of the opinion that this started the bear market. Just about everything broke from that point onwards. 2022 was actually a result of this first sell-off. It shattered bull market confidence. And hold that thought, because that's a really important element. This mid-2021 sell-off is a great example of what it takes to kill the bull. So when I talk about damage, I'm talking about financial damage. People do not like to see red numbers. Small red numbers they can deal with. Big red numbers, not so much. So we can look at how many coins in the whole supply are in profit or loss. So that's what this orange oscillator is. The higher it is, the more coins in the supply are thumbs up, happy, and green. Now you can see during corrections, we often get this thing pull back to maybe 80%. So let's say 20% of the supply, 25% of the supply, they can be in loss and the market can recover. But notice every time we get more than 25%, 30, 40, 50% of the supply is suddenly in loss, that is much nastier. And the red zone down the bottom here, this is those realized losses. This is people who bought high, selling low. Notice that they start to sell low when their supply gets too underwater. So these are some of those dynamics we can think about. We can actually look for how much damage does it take to properly kill the bull. Now, it's one thing to buy a coin. So that previous metric is the number of coins. But here's the thing. If you bought at 100,000 and the price goes to 99, okay, you're down $1,000, but as a percent term, it's 1%. Who cares? If you're down 30%, that's a different beast. Now you're starting to feel a little bit, a bit sensitive about your decision to buy the top. So this chart is then a second level to this, which is, okay, there's coins underwater, but how bad is it? How badly are they underwater? Did they buy the top and now we're down 30%? Or did they buy yesterday and it's plus or minus 1%? So those plus or minus 1%, 5%, things like that, that's in these green circles. And you can see that in a bull, of course, in a correction, someone bought the top, but the damage is small. We can recover from it. These are very, very small amounts of unrealized losses. Go back to MVRV. MVRV hasn't collapsed at this point in time. It's still trading relatively high. But notice, here's that mid-2021 sell-off. Really, really nasty. Stands out, much bigger. 2022, we started with a pretty nasty loss, and then it just got worse and worse. Same in 2018. So there is a different character. When we start to look for a bear market, it's because too many people bought too many coins at too high of a price. We can measure the damage. We can see when the damage picks up. And this is when things really start to get hairy. So we can combine price action. We can look at supply and loss. We can look at people actually capitulating. And we can look at the magnitude of the unrealized losses. All of these things gives us a really nice picture and say, hey, is it a dip or is it something a bit nastier? And the final one is, well, how do we know? How do we confirm, right? We've got this thesis and say, well, the damage is bad. It should be a bear. How do we say, yes, it actually is? Well, if we look at the actual realized loss, this is where people are actually just locking in. They're saying, I'm done. I'm throwing in the towel. I'm selling everything. You can see the 2022 bear market every single day was just red and red and red. People were saying, I don't care that I'm underwater. Get me out. Give me any exit liquidity I can possibly have. I'm done. But then look at bull markets. Bull markets, we get these short, sharp undercuts. People still buy high. They still buy the local top and they still take a loss, but it goes away. Once they've sold, they're out. The smart money steps in, buys the dip. It's a whole different animal. These short, sharp Vs is showing that we get, there's some top buyers, and they got flushed out. Once they're flushed out, we're done. So you can look for these character shifts. When does it become this environment of get me out at any price? It's over. I'm done. I don't want to talk about Bitcoin anymore. It destroyed my portfolio. We're looking for those character shifts. All right, last section. This is looking at tops. And I want to think about this from probably a perspective that makes a lot of sense when you hear it, but isn't actually intuitive. A lot of people are actually quite surprised when I talk through this section. People sell. People sell. It's a really, really strange thing, but people actually sell. And a lot of people think that, particularly in the Bitcoin world, they've been conditioned to believe that nobody sells. The truth is, lots of people sell, and they sell all the time. But if people are buying and selling all the time, which kind of people do we care about? For me, if I'm looking for an environment that's high risk, getting into the topping type behavior, I don't really want to see people who bought the bottom of the bear. I don't want to see them all selling, because when people who are smart enough, wise enough, and experienced enough to buy the bottom when it's the most dire and the scariest, when they start selling all at the same time, that's sending me a message and saying, maybe which side of this team do I want to be on? So long-term holders, they will tend to come into the fore at peaks. They're very, very good. They've become much better at actually picking tops now. And we have this data that we can track them. So we're looking for when does a big pool of old money all sell at the same time. So this blue trace, this is the total supply. Remember we talked about short-term holders, coins bought in the last 5 months. This is all the other coins, the coins that have been held for more than 5 months. Statistically speaking, they're going to stay held. But isn't it funny that they all start to sell in the bull? And the amount of people who argue with me about this and say, oh, no, it's wallet consolidation, or oh, no, it's this, it's that, it's some other thing. It's funny that they always seem to sell the most at the top. And then once the top's been put in and we go into a correction, they start reaccumulating and the sell side stops. So it's just one of those dynamics that if you can accept that people do sell and then we measure the selling, we can then say, well, maybe we can use that to our advantage. Now, how do we know that it's old money? People who bought a long time ago. Well, if you buy a coin yesterday, one BTC yesterday, and you sell it today, that's accumulated one coin day. This is like a measurement of holding time. We can also say that if there's a coin bought a year ago, it's got 365 coin days. What about one bought 5 years ago? Suddenly, when we see all of these coins spending and they're destroying lots and lots of holding time, that's what this chart is showing. It's showing us those peaks when lots and lots of holding time. It's like a volume of how long people have been in the market. Think about it as like hodler volume. So when we see lots and lots of hodlers all selling at the same time and destroying all those coin days, it's usually a good sign that we're getting a little bit heated. It is the smart money sending a message they think Bitcoin is overvalued. What happens when Bitcoin has this wonderful technology called number go up technology, where if you hodl this thing long enough, generally speaking, the market goes substantially higher than the original cost basis. So if we go back to previous bears, people who bought the bottom of the bear, they hodl for years, and then they start to distribute their coins. They're also locking in big profits. Now we're looking for confluence. Not only are old coins moving, but they're very old because they're destroying lots of coin days, and they're locking in huge amounts of profit. And go back to that MVRV metric. We can actually judge when they're likely to do this because we can see their paper gains. So let's look at all the cost bases, all the coins in the supply. Where were they bought? How much profit are they in? What price do we have to get to where they have always sold in every previous cycle? And that is what this chart does. So there's a whole lot of statistics and stuff that goes into the background here. But the most important thing to think about here, we know that long-term holders sell. We know they're all very good at picking tops. And the driver for people to sell is their unrealized profit. So why don't we look at all the coins in the supply and model out what price we would have to get to hit a level where they're all so profitable, their portfolio is so green that someone out there is going to start selling. Now, we never know that this is what's actually going to happen. This is the thesis. And the idea is that we can use all the data we've just looked at when the time comes to make sure that thesis is being validated. But what we're looking at here is across several different metrics, different MVRVs, different tools, different models. We're basically looking at how high do we have to go before there's only been 10% of days or 5% of days or 2% of days where we've been that stretched away from those means. So where it stands today, about 125K is approximately where that sell side is going to start. And by the way, it's very important that I iterate this. These are not predictions. I cannot predict the future. And people try to predict the future all the time. It cannot be done. This is purely saying in previous history, where have people sold in the past? How profitable do we need to be before people start selling? So at about 125, there's going to be a lot of hodlers who are very, very happy with performance, and they'll start to peel some off. If we get up to 170, 180, these are numbers where there's like less than 5% of all days. Can we go there? Yeah, we can. Can we go above it? Yes, we can. Probably not going to stay there for very long. So it's one of those events where we can keep going, but the higher we go, the lower the probability that we stay there. Until the market has corrected, we assess whether it's a dip, we assess whether it's a bear. Markets are a live fire exercise and they're constantly evolving, but we're really just looking for those levels where it's like, I can now make a plan. And let's go back to the point I said at the start. I can't predict the future, but I can prepare my decisions. So I know exactly what I'm going to do if we get to 180K. And the answer is I will not be lump summing my life savings. I will wait for the market to find a new equilibrium and a new level. That could be higher. That's fine. But as it stands today, I have made my decision today that I'm not going to lump sum. And I'm also not going to take out a massive loan. And I'm not going to go levered long at the top. I'm going to allow the market to find its level. When we're not in those zones, I can look at the short-term cost basis. I can look at the true market mean. I can use these tools to just say, well, what is my decision framework today? So that brings it all together, folks. Really, I know there's a lot of ideas, a lot of metrics, a lot of tools, but at the end of the day, all we're doing is visualizing what we already know. Smart money buy bottoms and they sell tops. Dumb money buy tops and they sell bottoms. We can look at corrections, dips, bears. We can actually distinguish them. They have very, very unique characteristics, and it's got to do with financial incentives and how much damage has been done. And what we're really doing at the end of the day, we're just using the reliable behavior of humans making decisions, market psychology, visualizing it, looking at sell side, looking at buy side, looking at people buying tops, looking at people selling bottoms. And then as a hodler, I want to use that to my advantage. So I know there's a lot of ideas in there, but hopefully just gives you a bit of a snapshot into how interesting this field is. And all this data is pulled out of the Bitcoin ledger itself. So Bitcoin is a wealth of information. It keeps me endlessly entertained.
Checkmate. As always, the chat has been firing names of GOAT, the greatest of all time. This man is unbelievable, and it's nothing we don't already know, mate. You're fantastic, and this data is absolutely brilliant. So thank you so much. So insightful. I know a lot of people were asking, where do you get the charts from? Where do you get this data? First of all the data that Check uses is from his own on-chain analysis company, Check on Chain. So viewers can go over and check out all of his stuff over on the website. James, that's right. Check on Chain is probably the best.
Yeah.
site.
So if you go checkonchain.com, there's a button for charts. They're all free, by the way. So all these charts are live. They update once a day. I use my own pasta sauce. Every chart you see in there I built it for me, and it's easy enough to ship this stuff.
I love it, mate. And for those that obviously, are Collective Shift members or end up deciding to become a member, Checkmate does 3 posts a week in our member platform that we'd shared before. So all of our members get his amazing insights as well on our side. So, mate, there's chats going off. Thank you, James. Sharing, mate. Thank you, everyone. Analysis was brilliant. Thanks, Checkmate. Fantastic, guys. As well, it can be quite data heavy. So we will be able to share some more data and research as we go. But yeah, this data is fantastic. So thank you so much, James. Great to see you, mate. And no doubt there'll be a few more people jumping on board to check out your stuff in the platform. So
no worries. My favorite comment so far is he bought the top, so not so goatish. You have to buy the top, because until you've experienced loss, you actually don't know how markets work. And too many people come in, they think they're a genius in the bull, and then they get smoked because they have to actually experience the feeling of loss. Taking an L in markets is the number one way to learn. So yeah, not so goatish, but I learned a lot.
And also, anyone that tells you they're perfect in the markets is absolutely full of shit. So
totally.
you'll notice, viewers, you'll actually notice that we have wins and losses here because we're real and we're authentic and actually say it how it is. A lot of people like to protect their losses, and I think that's one of the best things that our members actually get from what we do and what you do, James, is like we're sharing the ins and outs, everything live, wins, losses, draws, because that's how you learn and improve. So absolutely awesome. And we've all bought the top before.
Oh, you got to do it. It's good for good for the soul. Character building.
Good for the soul. Legend. Thank you so much, James. We'll see you very soon, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you. Now, the big part. A lot of you have been waiting for this point, the sell strategy. I want to really get you guys fired up. This exit strategy component is what most people really fail at. And I know we're just like looking at the data here from what we saw in the form and the survey is lack of time, lack of knowledge, fear of making a mistake, and round tripping is like one of the most important, one of the biggest reasons why a lot of you are here. So just a quick in the chat. Let me know how you're going. You're enjoying this. Was that helpful? James is probably the highlight for me so far. Well, lucky for you, Dale, we're only halfway through this masterclass, mate. We've got so much more to come. We're about to get into the sell strategy, exit strategy, helping you make sure you don't round trip another cycle and actually create a step-by-step play. Sammy, unreal, mate. Brenton, thanks for that info. Hems, loved it. Awesome. Thanks for being honest. That's great. Awesomeness as always, Vicky. Fantastic. Adam, yes, so the session will be recorded. It is being recorded. It will be shared afterwards for a limited time. However, the exclusive bonuses and things we have upcoming to share will only be available for those that are here live. So we'll share that with you guys very soon. Everything we're just sharing today is just a little bit of a tip of the iceberg of the things you can get. If you end up, wanting to be part of our mission and our journey here at Collective Shift, and if not, you can walk away and you're going to learn a lot. What we'd like to lead with value, actually help you, and then you go, fuck, these guys might actually know what they're talking about, and and then see what else we do. And if not, that's absolutely okay. We want to make sure you guys are walking away with great information, because guess what? Crypto is full of shit. It's full of nonsense. So Aaron, awesome info, loving it. Rose, learning heaps, and I've been screen recording, but so you get a proper recording, Rose, in full HD, so you can watch us later. Ben call out, great name, mate, loving it. I've got my name tag here somewhere. I'm not sure. I've lost it. No, don't know. Got my name badge here somewhere. Who knows? Oh, here it is. So you get a little name badge if you end up becoming a member. That's one thing. Probably the most valuable thing that you get. I'm kidding. So many Bens. Rufus, great information about the team. Stephen, enjoyable. Don't ask me to repeat it. That's what we're here to do, mate. We're here to help you out. Good insight so far. Eddie, beyond helpful, Ben. This is unreal. Rose, I'm loving it. Loving it. Authentic shit. Wow. Awesome. Collective shift are the goats. Amazing. Thank you, Sovereign. You're a fucking wizard, Benny. Oh, g'day, Joey. How are you, mate? Good to see you. Cool. Okay. Let's get up Simon and Matt because, boys, this is the time. This is the time that everyone, they've got some gains. They're getting in the right assets. They've heard the GOAT. Now they want GOAT 2 and 3, Simon and Matt. The exit strategy, fellas. This is the part where it all comes falling down for most people. This is where... right. Nice. My ex-wife of Bitcoin. No. I won't comment on that. The exit strategy is a step-by-step playbook. And there's a few ways to go about it. And, I've been able to make life-changing amounts of money in crypto, which is absolutely amazing. I did in the first cycle. The second cycle is because I had a proper strategy and I had accountability and I had these guys to help me and we built a process. And again, it is different for different people. So we need to have step-by-step instructions on picking the right strategy for you. If you're in retirement, if you're busy, if you're a full-time, depending on where you're at, altcoins, whatever, the most important thing is having this plan because that's how I made money, the metaverse, to build my business. I just took profits recently. I'm buying my mum and dad a house, which I'm so excited to do because I was able to take profits and do something with the money and not round trip because of this strategy. So hope you're all very much excited for this. Simon and Matt, this is game time, guys. This is what everyone wants to know. I'll hand over to you. And then after Matt and Simon are done, I'm then going to talk about how to build a multi-7-figure portfolio as a time poor investor. All of my strategy, my portfolio, how we found Maple and the next altcoin I'm looking at, goals, 7-step strategy, everything, plus the exclusive bonuses we're going to have just for you guys that jump on the call. Over to you, Matt and Simon.
Lovely. Thank you, Ben. I'll get this up here. Yeah, the most heavily requested topic of today. I'm having talks about this basically every day at the moment, people wanting to know how to put their strategy together. So Simon, let's not waste any time. Let's crack into it.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Let's get into it. And I'm glad Benny showed me his badge with his name because I'd totally forgotten who he was as well. So thanks for that, Ben. That's really appreciated. That was very helpful. But sell strategies, guys. Let's get serious now. Sell strategies. Everybody wants to know when to get out. Everybody wants to know when to sell. And it's never just as simple as that. And I guess that's what we're going to talk about here is that that's not exactly like there's a formula that we can tell you where you're going to absolutely nail it. But there are steps that you can put in place, and there's certainly some automations that you can do to try and alleviate it, to try and separate yourself from some of that emotion. I think that's kind of probably the main thing that I want you guys to learn from this today. What are your thoughts there, Matt?
Yeah, definitely. The emotion will only get I guess more just more impacting your decision making as this bull market really kicks into gear. So good to be on top of it, and these strategies will help you manage emotions and help you make effective decisions. So yeah, let's crack in, Simon.
Cool. So it looks like I can control these slides. So that's good. I'll take over for a bit. So how to create the sell strategy and exit plan. That's what we're talking about, guys. But before we get into that, we've got to set your expectations versus reality, because I think people really have this unachievable kind of goal of what they want to do. And that kind of unachievable goal is basically, this is your expectation. This is actually the Bitcoin chart from 2021. And this is what everyone wants to know is how to sell here. That's the expectations, that you're going to sell here. You're going to sell right at the very top. And that's what everybody wants to be able to do here. And so the reality is that you're not going to do that, guys. But you just cannot pick the top like that. There's literally only one person who gets to buy and sell the absolute top. And so where can you expect to get? What is actually achievable for an individual to do? Because if your expectation is to sell the exact top, I'm not going to be able to provide that information for you. Because here's some just reality to really put some data and some idea behind your head into it. And so this, again, it's the same Bitcoin chart here. This is the top in 2021. And so that blue line represents 5% from the top. So 5% from the top. No, I should also add that each of these candles is a daily candle. So that's 1 day of trading of Bitcoin pricing. And so that blue line to sell 5% of the top, you actually only had 3 days to sell within 5% of the top. So remember that expectation of selling the top? Well, sell within 5% of the top, I only got 3 days to do that in. And so I can tell you right now, I am not good enough to do that. You are not good enough to do that. There's very few people who are good enough to do that. And if you do, you just kind of got lucky, really, because no one really knows. The yellow line is 10% from the top. You've got 16 days to sell within 10% of the top. And so that, for everyone who doesn't know, last cycle, the top was like 69,000 US dollars. So now we're 10% from that. So now we're sitting down at $62,000 to sell within 10% of the top. If you did that, you did phenomenally well. 15% from the top, you had 33 days. So that's like a whole 4-year kind of cycle of Bitcoin prices. To sell within 15% of the top, you only had 33 days to actually achieve that. So if you did that, you would have done absolutely phenomenally well. Just for reference, I sold my Bitcoin in the last cycle at $50,000, so even further away from that. And I can tell you at the time, I felt like an idiot because the price kept going up, but dead set, when the prices came crashing down, felt like an absolute genius again. So that's the reality of trying to sell the top of Bitcoin. It's incredibly hard to sell the top. And if you sell within 15%, you've done incredibly well. So have that kind of expectation in mind. So meme coins or altcoins in general is a whole nother kettle of fish here, because meme coins are obviously extremely volatile, much harder. And so this is Dogecoin here, and I've given it away. I've pressed the button too early, but Dogecoin here, to sell within 5% of the top, we had 0 days. That's how fast it goes up and down. This is the biggest meme coin out there, Dogecoin, in 2021. 0 days to sell within 5% of the top. And it kind of just gets a bit more stupider than that. To get within 10%, 1 day. So what we had 16 days on Bitcoin, Dogecoin, 1 day to sell within 10%. It's still ridiculous. 15%, 4 days. And so the expectation that you're going to sell the top of the meme coins is really unrealistic. And I just thought to throw it in just for interest's sake, 25% of the top of Dogecoin, you had 5 days to sell it in. So the further you go in that risk curve as far as assets is concerned, the less likely is you're actually going to sell the top. So it's probably really important to keep that in mind of where you're actually going to sell. So is there anything you want to comment on those, Matt, before we actually move on?
No, well, I'm even just thinking in recent times about like local tops of certain meme coins. We've seen all the narratives over the past 6 months or so. Whether it's useless, even the launchpad sort of ones that we've had recently, and even going back last year to the various AI agents and other related meme coins. This certainly hits home for those that hit local tops, and definitely expect the same this bull market in terms of just how quickly these altcoins and meme coins top out at. So have that as your expectation, your assumption going into putting together a sell strategy. Otherwise, you'll leave disappointed if you're aiming for 0 or 1 day.
Yeah, and if any of you in the comments know how to sell within 5% of the top, please let me know. We probably have a job for you, because it's just impossible to do, guys. So now let's get into some selling strategies to actually match reality of what you're actually going to be able to do here, guys. And this is kind of, I guess the real nuts and bolts of how you're going to do it, guys. And so everyone talks about dollar cost averaging in, but no one ever really talks about dollar cost averaging out. And so for those who don't know, dollar cost averaging in is basically a set amount of money that you're going to put to buying Bitcoin or whatever altcoin at, every week, every month, whenever it is, every day for some people, a certain amount every single time. So it's automated, it's scheduled. And so dollar cost averaging out is a great sell strategy to remove that emotional pain, remove that kind of constant monitoring of the market. So if you're time poor and you really don't want to try and follow the market, you're not going to get the top. You just want to be in that kind of range, and you'll get some of your sell points in that kind of top range. Then dollar cost averaging out is a really good option. You can automate this. You don't have to think about it. And so plenty of exchanges can do it. Plenty of decentralized exchanges can do a dollar cost averaging out process. So it's a really simple way, I think, for you guys to be able to just automate the process and not think about it. So time poor, dollar cost averaging out is really great, and it removes that emotional turmoil, because you're constantly thinking about where the price is. You're constantly worried about it. One of the things that I always find is people get really worried is if we have a local top where it could be the top and the prices start going down, people get fixated on that price point. And so dollar cost averaging means you never really get fixated on a price because you're not thinking about it. You're just constantly selling at individual times. It's a really important strategy for you guys to have. And it's so simple, and people see the logic of it for dollar cost averaging in. Most people don't see it as the simple way of dollar cost averaging out, do they, Matt?
No, they don't. It's rarely talked about. The next approach here, in terms of popularity among the sell strategies, Simon, is definitely this one here.
Yeah, so this is target prices. This is probably what most people can really grasp and simple is like, at a certain price, I'm going to sell some of my Bitcoin. And what we're trying to show here especially is this is like a laddering approach. It's not all or nothing. You don't have to sell everything all at once. You can sell it at steps along the way. And it's actually a really smart way to do it, not just for Bitcoin, but for any cryptocurrency. Because as we've said, you're not going to sell the top and you just want to automate this process. You don't want to have this emotional turmoil. You're not going to try and figure it out because you don't have that kind of time in the market. So having set price points is really good. People love using this as a sell strategy because they can also build goals around it, because it's very easy, I guess, to do the maths of, what's 10% of my Bitcoin if I sell it at this price? And you can kind of figure out, if I hit all these targets, am I going to achieve all my goals? And the only other thing I'd add to that is that if you are only going to achieve your goals by the maximum height, like the top price being hit, then you're probably not got a good, I guess, laddering system in place. I think you should probably try and make sure at the very least, if you've got this laddering approach, that you actually can achieve your goals at the lower prices, and you're just holding that a little bit on just in case, prices go really crazy. Don't necessarily hold out all of your sells for these really high prices. You never know if they're going to get hit.
Yeah, and any prices that we do refer to are always US dollars. This is an example, of course, but even at 120,000 US dollars, it's, if we're thinking the top is somewhere around 170,000 or so, which I've always maintained, $50,000, previously would sound like an enormous leap in Bitcoin, but just some simple math, it's really not that far now. So when you're talking about sell strategy for Bitcoin, if you do plan on selling, you're also then wanting altcoin returns, which we'll get into soon as well in terms of how to go about selling them. You're really wanting to remember that your altcoins really should be outperforming Bitcoin. So you can think about that when you're setting your price targets as well. And if you're finding that you're running the projections on certain altcoins and you're finding that your projections really aren't really all that much different to Bitcoin, then the question sort of begs the question of whether you should even be in those altcoins to begin with. So yeah, that's all worth considering. And thanks for these questions that are coming in and the comments. Anything else on this particular sell strategy, Simon?
Yeah, I would say, again, one of the best benefits of this is you can automate this. And so you can preset these sell points up. And I think trying to do some of that, you don't have to do all of it automated and get the sell prices and the limit orders in place. But I guarantee you, when prices are moving like they are now, people start feeling that euphoric moment and they think, I'll just hold out a little bit longer. I just will wait and see where the market goes. It's a really bad way to go about managing your portfolio there. It's a really bad way to manage your sell strategy. To give you an example, I bought Solana back in 2023. It was, in the teens, about $15. And I had in my plan to sell it when it reached $100 US. And so Solana went on an absolute ripping tear and got to $100 quite quickly. And it felt horrible. It felt so wrong to be selling at that time, because I just thought this market is going crazy. The market's euphoric, especially with Solana back in 2020, start 2024. It felt so wrong to do it. But here was the reality of it. And yes, the price kept going up after it. And so I did feel like a bit of an idiot, but at least I was a rich idiot because I did sell and I made some profits. But in this correction that we've had recently, Solana went down below $100. And so all of a sudden, again, that sell point, which seemed ridiculous at the time, actually turned out to be a positive because the price went down. Not that I rotated, not that I did any of that, but it makes you feel better when you have that knowledge that markets really go down really fast. So if you've got these target prices and you've written them down, automate them so you can remove that greedy, glaze that comes over your eyes when the market's moving, and you actually execute on your plan. I think that's a big point, to make sure you execute on this plan that you make.
Yeah, and often when selling, I will take profits in stablecoins like USDC or Tether, depending on the temperature of the market and how much risk I'm willing to take on. I'll roll in some of those profits into other altcoins, or a portion of those profits I'll put into altcoins I'm bullish on. So it's all a matter of how much risk you're willing to take off, because obviously taxes, as some people have said here, is also a component depending on where you live, particularly in Australia. Factoring in the tax consequences of using your profits and putting them into another altcoin certainly has implications as well. So all of that is, with various resources on the Collective Shift member platform, and also have some member discounts with certain tax providers in the space as well to figure all of that stuff out, which is absolutely should be in consideration when you're putting together your sell strategy.
Yeah, and so the next sell strategy we've got here is time-based, which is basically at a certain date in time, you're going to sell some of your holdings here. And so the examples here, we're saying sell 5% in February 2025, June sell 10%, August sell more. And so again, this is automating the process. It's taking out, I need to follow the market, know exactly what's going on, to just going, I know that markets go in cycles and I'm not going to time the top. So I'm going to take pieces off along the way. And we randomly came up with these dates on here, but just put it in perspective. If you'd sold some of your portfolio in February 2025, that was kind of before we had that real big correction in the market. Again, you'd be feeling like quite the genius at the time. It would have felt dirty as well, because that was when we had the Trump coin just being released. Markets were going quite crazy. Again, that time when it feels really wrong to sell, it's actually probably a really good time to sell. And so again, you're not going to time that right. You're going to feel greedy at the moment. So if you write these kind of processes down, if you write this goal and target of your sell strategies, execute on it, because you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to feel good about it at some point in the future.
Yeah, for sure. There's some good questions coming in to factor this. If you're someone who follows the macro environment a lot more closely, and you view Bitcoin and crypto more or less as an expression of what's going on in the macro landscape, a time-based strategy, can be important. Particularly if you're looking at projections for what's happening with monetary policy and the global supply of money. There's some questions here about, what do the macro conditions say about how much longer we expect this to go on for? And that's certainly, I think Lyndall had the question there, or Lyle. That's certainly something I'm factoring in. I think monetary policy, particularly in the US, there's meant to be projected to be multiple rate cuts in 2026. Throughout 2026, I'm not going to wait until the final rate cut to start selling. Of course, the market is forward-looking all the time, so the market is constantly factoring in, what is projected to happen in the future. But I've always maintained, around Q3 of this year has the potential for some real euphoria. If the macro conditions really continue to be favorable, and there's certain things happening even in the crypto landscape in the US side of things, if that is all more favorable than we're expecting, then I'm definitely will be, even prolonging how long I think this bull market can go for. So certainly things like Trump's tax, like spending bill we saw recently got confirmed, and we're even seeing central banks around the world and even the likes of China recently really injecting a lot of stimulus into their economies, which is all really good advertisement and really good conditions for things like crypto. So be aware with macro, it is all forward lookings, but if you're wanting to sort of play that game, a time-based strategy can work. It's certainly not what me and Simon do, which we'll get into that one next. This is all a sentiment-based sell strategy, and I would say my 8 years or so in crypto, this is the one I've had the most success with. It also requires the most monitoring, but as we all know, crypto and prices for any investor, projecting what's going to happen with altcoins and Bitcoin is extremely difficult. One of the reasons is because there's just no standardization of how to value altcoins. Like, you don't have it like what you have in traditional finance with all of the various metrics which are standardized, and people can look into the future cash flows of various businesses. They can look at their balance sheet and look at their various financial statements to sort of project and come out with a valuation metric. You just don't have that in altcoins at the moment. I think they are slowly coming together, but it really makes it difficult. You can look at some charts and you can look at other things like on-chain data, but they never give you the full picture. So a sentiment-based sell strategy. So what is that? It's really deciding when to sell more or less based on what is happening in the market and what various factors and indicators are showing us as analysts or you out there as investors. What are certain sentiment gauges? What are they showing you? So various sentiment metrics could be things like public interest in crypto. There's various ways to measure that, such as YouTube metrics, social data, also things like views on various exchange websites or downloads of exchange apps, various things like that. Also just mentions, in media or mainstream media, but also on-chain data to do with how much profit taking is going on, which again is almost a reflection of the sentiment. Are the long-term holders of the opinion that, hey, this market has sort of run its course and we're deciding to take profits here? Again, that's a reflective of the sentiment changing in the space. So we're always keeping tabs on what investors, long-term investors, and new incoming capital, what they're assessing in the market and what their sort of current position is. And over time, I found that is the best way to go about deciding when to sell. So me and Simon will be posting, of course, and Ben, when that time comes, why we are selling. It'll very much be to do with sentiment as a big factor there, and we'll be sharing when we are sort of staggering out of our positions, because I personally want to be out 100% of all of my altcoins in this bull market.
Yeah, and I don't want to sit there and say sentiment is just something you can only get if you buy onto our platform, become a member.
No.
I give you some insight into how sentiment works, because I don't think if you're time poor, it's not a great strategy. But to give you the best tip of how to read the sentiment, if you were around end of last year when Trump got elected, and we basically had 6 weeks of crypto going up, Bitcoin rallied like crazy, Solana went crazy, Sui went crazy, all of the coins basically had a huge rally. Everyone thought they were geniuses. Everyone pat them on the backs. Everyone was going crazy, going, we've made it. We've all made it. That is a fair indicator of a greedy sentiment and time to sell. So if we feel that again, and maybe we're at the start of that now, I don't really know. But if you've got that sensation of that, hey, we're all geniuses, we've all done so well, that is sentiment going a little bit crazy. And that is probably a good indication that I will be looking for of when it's time to sell. So be on the lookout for that. And the other sentiment value that I think you can really do really well, which will, again, it's balancing your emotions, making yourself feel how you're going to feel about selling, because it's really hard to feel. It's the sell price. Is that look at your portfolio, especially if you've got a large percentage of altcoins and a lot of Bitcoin. Look at your portfolio and take 90% off it. And how does that make you feel? Because that's the reality of what's going to happen for a lot of these altcoins. They're going to lose 80, 90% of them. Maybe the higher up the market cap, the less they'll go down. Maybe Bitcoin only goes down 50%, but Bitcoin did go down 80% last cycle. Take 90% off your portfolio and see how you're comfortable with that number. And that to me is a good indication. If you're thinking that because your portfolio is going up really high, if you don't like where it's going down to, that is a good sentiment indicator for you to say, hey, maybe it's time for you to sell.
Yeah, that's it. And 100% of my altcoins, so anything that's not Bitcoin, I'm wanting to be selling all of them, in this bull market. The reason for that is I think it's very likely altcoins, suffer 90+% drawdowns in price throughout, parts of 2026 and into 2027. I very much think that will play out. Definitely throughout those times. As an investor, I've had the most success in crypto market, actually investing in the bear market, and really, really keeping tabs on which projects are fundamentally gaining traction and actually developing in the right manner. Solana was a great example in the last bear market, where that was in around $22. I got in on that and shared that with members. So longer term investing is best done starting in the bear market. And that's the best time I'll be looking to get into altcoins once again. But certainly in this environment, I'm still adding to certain altcoin positions when there are pullbacks. So Hyperliquid has been the one I've personally been most bullish on, and I still do expect that to do very well in this bull market. So in terms of selling, I have my sell like targets of when I want to start selling hyperliquid, and I will be sharing that with members once that time does come. But even though we have run up aggressively in recent weeks, I haven't really gotten caught up in the like euphoria of it or anything. I haven't really considered selling any of my hype just yet, because I've always had those price targets which haven't come to fruition just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with Matt there in that I think we've still got plenty to go. So I haven't seen any reason to consider selling. I think it's still a time to add to positions, but we are closer to the end of the cycle than we are at the start, guys. So keep that in mind as well.
Gentlemen, top shelf. That was absolutely awesome. And I think, the sentiment, I agree. Like that is kind of our, magic sauce, but it's very hard to quantify, and all those data points and, analysis that we've, collected over the last 8 or 9 years is definitely the edge that we all use personally. And that's the whole idea of collective shift, right? Where we can kind of, invest ourselves, win, and then share that with others and hopefully bring others on the journey. And then we all win together. That's the only way this sort of works. So fantastic, gentlemen. I know, I think everyone really, really appreciated. How was that? Everyone in the chat. Yep. Samuel, thanks. Great points. There's a lot of good questions. So we're going to get to some questions and Q&A very, very soon. So we're going to bring Matt and Simon back on and answer all the questions right at the end. But that was absolutely awesome. So please make sure you get your questions ready. And yeah, go Matty.
Yeah, we've been getting good questions. And yeah, for anyone submitting them that we haven't, some of them we've been answering on the fly as we've been going, but some of them we've been saving to answer as well in the Q&A. So just a heads up to stick around for the Q&A at the end as well.
Awesome. And, from experience, not having a sales strategy when I first started 7 or 8, 9 years ago, completely round tripped, as I mentioned at the start. And most people do. Actually, in fact, I would say 9 out of 10 times, 9.5 out of 10 times, first cyclers especially round trip, because that mental piece, that psychology that we speak about. And, it's why our head of platinum coaching and our head coach, Travis, is a psychologist, because honestly, it's not woo-woo. Your head and your brain is the biggest enemy for you actually taking profits, because you're going to have all that greed, euphoria, and you think it's never going to go down. And I'm saying you because I'm talking to myself here. It's we're all humans. It's sort of in our brain. So, fellas, thank you so much. We'll bring you back very, very, very soon. Thank you so much. I am very excited to now jump into the final part of today's session before we get to Q&A. First, before I do that, I want to just get a chat. How are we all going? Are we learning a lot? Has this been helpful? Who's your favorite been so far? We're at 1,500 people live, which is really, really epic. I'm about to talk about how to grow your crypto portfolio and take profits as a time poor investor. No more of this trading stuff. No more of this. You need to sit in front of the charts, do all this mumbo nonsense. How to really build a proper portfolio construction. I'm going to talk about goals. I'm going to talk about my strategy, stuff for business owners, how to set goals, wealth levels, my wealth creation strategy if you're looking at trying to build a passive income. Going to share some really big insights in terms of experience shares of the mistakes I see people make, really going to help you get to the next step. And then I'm going to share with you the exclusive bonuses that all of you have access to today. Eddie, absolute masterclass. Oh, wow, there's a lot of messages. Masterclass on info. Awesome. Good talk. Extremely helpful. Head is spinning. Is there different levels to membership and collective shift? Yes, there is. I will share a little bit about that later. What fundamentals should we be looking at when investing? Yes, there's a lot. Oscar, it's what we focus on at Collective Shift. Jacob, check, very smart guy, awesome. Who's it better be buying? Yeah, so many great questions. So Grant stopped his career to concentrate on wealth creation. I love it. Good talk, awesome, absolute awesome. Thanks, super helpful. Great, okay, fantastic. So many awesome things. So let's get up we'll bring up my slides here. This is going to focus on, as I mentioned, this is now when it comes time to crunch time. So you've heard about the markets, you've heard about altcoins, you've heard about exit strategy. How do we bring it all together? And this is really the most important part, where I'm going to talk you through their 7-step strategy on how to actually build your overall strategy. The exit strategy is one component, but you actually need the 7 steps to truly make most of a cycle and make sure you try and get the most out of the market. So I'm going to try and bring everything together for you, and then we'll do some Q&A at the end. So hopefully you're all pumped up and excited. We're going to finish off super strong here. Again, 1,500 people is absolutely awesome. Great to see so many people in the chat. Okay, so what we're going to cover together: how to structure your portfolio for long-term growth using stablecoins, yield strategies, and using real case studies. Also, why most portfolios fail. I've been working one-on-one with clients for so long now. I'm going to share with you my exact framework. Serious investors are using to scale their crypto portfolio and the mistakes they are making. There's so many common mistakes I want all of you to try and avoid. The strategy behind our 10x on Maple. This is one of my biggest investments to the cycle so far, and I was able to take profits out, and how we're repositioning for the next altcoin rotation. I'm going to go into my altcoins. I'm going to go into some goal setting, everything like that. Does that sound good? You guys excited about that? Is everything been good so far? You're learning a lot. Hopefully so far, again, we're 2 hours in. There's been so much information. There's so much awesome stuff going on. Hopefully you guys have taken on, a lot, and being able to go and implement this on your own is going to be absolutely awesome. So the stuff in the next 45 minutes is going to be super, super valuable. Charlotte around the market. Yeah, we're going to help answer all those questions very, very soon. Eddie's good. Yep, enjoying that. Fantastic. Loving the info. Samuel's already signing up. We've actually already had people sign up. We haven't even spoken about our membership. There's people signing up. So, I think we had a new member just join us. Liz, welcome, Liz, to the membership. I haven't even spoken about it. I'm not even sure how you found it. So welcome. Funny that there's only a few spots. So people are already finding it, which is great. Eddie, yes. Samuel signing up. Pablo, love the info. Vicky, thank you, Ben. Caden, yes. Great stuff. Great info. Sweet. All good. G, sweet. Cool. Davey Warner. Oh, no. Warner. Sorry. Thought you were. You should be out playing cricket, mate. Darren, Ben, you are the governor. Life-changing info. Thank you so much. No worries, Anita. Peter, always valuable. Great stuff, Rahul. Awesome. Welcome, Liz. Okay, let's crack into it, guys. This is going to be super, super valuable. I want to really try and help out as much as I can and then answer some questions. So my strategy. What is my strategy in the short term? Well, I use altcoins as positions to build my long-term stack. There's only one reason why I want to hold altcoins, and that is to outperform Bitcoin. If your altcoins are not outperforming Bitcoin, there's absolutely no reason you should be holding them. I speak to so many people that come to me with altcoins they've held from previous cycles, or altcoins they're just following from influencers online. They buy a bunch of altcoins, they hold them, and they're not outperforming Bitcoin. Bitcoin is compounding it at 100% year on year. If your altcoins are not compounding at 100% year on year, you are behind. All right, and this is why portfolio allocation is very, very important. All right, when I build up my altcoins, and we've been really good this cycle. I've been doing this for 9 years. I will say this has been my best cycle in terms of investing. Syrup did a 10x before the market even moved. I just did another 10x on one of the meme-fi projects I'll speak about. Sui's been huge. I'll share that. Hype's been great. We had a big chunk of BTC. I did think the gaming sector was going to take off in the short term. It hasn't played out. That was one I got wrong, but I rotated back into some good layer ones and it's been outperforming. So again, you don't get them 100% right, but our winners are far outweighing our losses, and that's all you need to do. So the cash I've got from the market and my business and, additional cash is going into the market, and I'm looking to sell down my altcoins. One target to hit to diversify into property. I want to talk about my wealth creation strategy in a second, and also to buy more Bitcoin. All right. And one of my biggest goals has been to buy my mum and dad a property. I'm just ticking that off at the moment, which is absolutely awesome. And then I'm going to go and tick off my next goals, which I'll share with you very soon. Now, my altcoin strategy, I spoke about this at length separately on my social media. The altcoin strategy. These are the 4 sectors that I believe have the most potential, but also have the least downside risk. All right. Layer ones is the most obvious one. This is our focus on the layer one projects like ETH, Solana, Sui, etc. Hype that Matt and Simon spoke about. Sui. All right, DeFi. I think DeFi is a very underrated sector, which I'm going to share with you. An asset that I'm liking there. And then meme coins and AI are very, very risky. They're very, very high risk in terms of their potential opportunity to return. However, if you get them right, you can make a lot of money. If you get them wrong, you can lose a lot of money. All right. And I just made a 10x on a MemeFi project. I want to share with you how I found that and where I'm looking into the next sector. And again, this is the best thing about, I don't want to talk about us too much, but the reality is the reason we are so good genuinely is because we're investing for ourselves. I love helping you guys out, but I'm going to be honest. I also love making money too. And that's why I'm investing so much into my team. $200,000 a month I spend on my team to help us find the best insights, to have Checkmate, to have Matt, to have Simon, to have our whole team to help us find these investments. And that's why we're making, great money with our investments, and we can share that with others. So I want to dig into this today. So Maple, this was Syrup. DeFi project, did 1,000%. I shared this in the group about a year and a bit ago at 5 cents. It recently hit 50 cents. It actually went all the way up to 60, 65 cents. And it is now the biggest on-chain project behind BlackRock. Why was Syrup a 10x opportunity? Why did I invest in this? Well, the DeFi project entered the post-22 credit collapse when everything broke down. Celsius, BlockFi, everything went to shit, and Maple survived and expanded. You've got to look at altcoins as startups, guys. Altcoins are just other businesses that are in crypto. And 99% of altcoins have literally zero value proposition. If we step back right now and go, what has crypto delivered to the world? What do you talk to your friends and family about that what crypto is and how it's providing value to the outside world? You've got Bitcoin, which is the obvious one. Outside of Bitcoin, what do any of these altcoins actually do? All right, have a think about that. I'll give you the answer. Most of them do absolutely fucking nothing. All right. And you need to find assets that are actually doing something, because this is where the winners and the losers are separated. Because by you holding crap, all right, that only influencers talk about and have great community and great following, that is not going to last. Do you think your local corner store or a business that you support, all right, or you like, is only going to win based on that people like them? Or do you think they need to survive based on the revenue, the products they sell, the customers they have? There's only so far a project can get based on it, people liking it. If they're not making money, they're going to run out of money. It's a business, all right? So you need to understand that. And that's why Syrup was the biggest opportunity, because it had real fundamentals. It's generating revenue. Can you believe it? A cryptocurrency is actually generating revenue. Well, oh my goodness. Do you think most altcoins are generating revenue? Absolutely not, all right? And even the projects that do generate revenue, some are not even feeding it back into the token, all right? And a perfect example here is I don't want to start a war in the chat. XRP, let's talk about it. You know, I think XRP is going to do well. Don't get me wrong. I think XRP has a great community. I think it's got a great following. I think it's got a great marketing team, right? But guess what? It has been promising a lot for a number of years, all right? What has it delivered? I don't know. That's yet to be seen. Okay. But what it does well is marketing and community. And guess what? Crypto is good for that, right? If it has good community and good marketing, the project is going to succeed. However, when push comes to shove and there's no retail investors, like there hasn't been for the last year, what projects are going to shine through? Those that have real world value. All right. And yeah, I think XRP can do well, and I think it will. However, the tokenomics and the way it generates revenue is not strong. And that's why I'm not an investor. Not to say it won't perform well. I do think XRP, and we're slightly bullish in the shift list. I don't want to offend anyone because I know there's a lot of XRP fans, but I'm just saying that there's marketing and community, and then there's fundamentals. And this is why Syrup's been so good. So I like to invest in projects that have good fundamentals, and this is a great driver of that. TVL surged 4x this year. It's nearly overtaken BlackRock. It's got $2 billion in TVL. It's a DeFi project that has high conviction. So I had high conviction, and I doubled down when others ignored it. This is the big one, guys. How have I made this 10x? Well, guess what? I wasn't buying when everyone was talking about it. By the time everyone's talking about something, it's too late. You need to be looking at opportunities before they arise, all right? And that's been the big one. MemeFi, another one. This is a project, and unfortunately, I can't share the token of this project because it is a member benefit. However, this was one that we shared. I shared about a year and a bit ago. It has gone from, I think I invested around that $5 million market cap. It recently hit 50. It actually hit 65 million yesterday. And this is like the Aave of memes. Again, what is it doing? It's providing value for meme coin holders. You can basically deposit your meme coins and earn stable coins as a loan against it. Okay, it's got fundamental value. I'm seeing a value proposition. I'm a business owner. I get it. And I know how hard it is to build a business. And I know how hard it is to build a product that people want to use. And guess what? If you can find a crypto that builds a product that people want to use, you know, that is what I'm looking at. And most projects don't have that at all. All right. And that's what's so important. Okay. That's also done 1,000x. Recently took profits. All right. And able to build up my Bitcoin stack. That's why I buy it. All right. Again, hugely risky, but with the right allocation and the right bets, you can make a good bet. Peter, Ben is 100% right. Remember the .com boom, all fluff and no substance. Coins are fluff. Exactly. And I'm not saying they're all going to go to zero, but guess what? Most of them are. Okay. Cool. Shay, already a member since last year. They do great stuff. Appreciate it. Thank you. Cool. Solana. This is one that I'm bullish on. This is the next gen layer 1 project. We got into Solana at $22. I have a big chunk of Solana. We spoke about this, Matt and Simon, but it's still still a really good emerging blockchain that has a lot of adoption metrics, which is really exciting. I have a good chunk of Solana in my portfolio, and they're establishing a really good presence in Washington, which is good. With this Solana policy, holding since 2020, since $22. Okay. Bullish on Solana. Sui is a big one. You know, Simon spoke about Sui previously, and it's a project that has been really good for gaming, really good for UI, and the adoption metrics are great. And the markets are always looking for the next hot thing. All right, and this is one of the leading next-gen blockchains, which is really cool. The next one Actually, no, I have a nice little chart here. So I actually bought Sui in my portfolio back in October 15th. And I've got a nice little chart here. This is, don't we like these charts? You know, oh, look at me. I know what I'm talking about. But no, the reality is we saw some upcoming announcements that Sui had. It's a good fundamental project. The announcements are upcoming. Simon was very bullish on it. Our research team was following it. And we're able to double down just before the pump. And this was just before, I think it was just below $2. I think Sui hit $4 yesterday. All right. So, it recently hit $4 a pullback, and that was up towards that $4 again. Okay. 100% in not very long at all. These are the altcoins that we have the research and drive. And again, guys, you have to be buff, but you can't be, these are markets. You cannot be on the side of the 90%. Only 10 to 15% of people in crypto actually make money. All right. So I'd urge you to understand what your edge is. Do you think you're in the 15%, or do you think you're in the 85% watching the same shitty influencers and YouTubers that are just shilling you crap? Genuinely have a think about that. And when I realized that I was in that boat 8 or 9 years ago, I was like, I want to actually build an edge for myself. And that's where, we've got that amazing team. All right. Hyperliquid is the last one. The reason I like Hyperliquid, it's a mix of a layer 1 and DeFi. A mix of layer 1 and, a protocol that generates revenue. And that's what I'm excited about. It actually, as a derivatives platform, it generates revenue back to the protocol. And it has some great, really burning mechanisms, and the tokenomics are great. All right. So that's another one I have some exposure to. Now, a sector that I do think is a bit hidden, honestly, is the DeFi sector. We had a great run up of DeFi over the last 6 months. If you look at Syrup, did really well, Uniswap, Aave, these DeFi projects had been sort of written off over the last, sort of couple of years because of what was going on in the US and because of regulation. DeFi couldn't really break through. All right. And now we're starting to see those fundamental projects really rally. And that's why I'm bullish on DeFi. All right. Again, what's a good project that we all use? If you've been in crypto for a little while, you're probably using Uniswap. Where do you get these tokens? Uniswap. Where's a good place where you can get good yield and return? Syrup. Where's another good project? Aave. Okay. These are protocols that are genuinely doing something. What is your shitty altcoin doing? All right. Let's be real. You've got to simplify it, guys. The amount of conversation I have with people that sign up, jump on board, and just they come to me with 37 different altcoins, and it's like they don't have a clue what any of them do. They've been there forever and just hoping they're going to go up. The altcoin sector is completely different this cycle. This crypto cycle is playing out completely different. It is no longer Bitcoin rises, the money flows down to altcoins. Remember that chart that people posted, Bitcoin up and then money flows down? That's what we looked at in the previous cycles, because that's what happened. Guess who's buying now? MicroStrategy, governments, institutions. Do you think they're buying your shitty altcoin? Absolutely not. All right. When the retail arrive, they're going to buy it, but you got to wait for that point. And that's the part where you're missing out on opportunity cost, right? Is this all making sense so far, folks? Craig, Soul, Sui, Hype, I still have a big amount, mate, in my portfolio. Yes, I'm still buying. ETH, no, I own ETH, LT, big bullish on ETH. Dale, how about ISO coins? I love the ISO coins thing. Like, how has that played out for everyone? It's just another one of these influencer, influencer marketing things that, there's like these brand new ISO coins that are just going to blow up. It's just like, guys, there's so many crappy narratives that influencers come up to spin another narrative, to spin up more eyeballs, to send you to their, Bybit link. Like, you just take, I'm trying to educate you because I used to work for one, and I know that so many retail investors are just taken for a ride. Checkmate spoke about this. The retail buy at the top and they sell at the bottom. Everyone, cool. Okay, that's good. People are thinking about it. There is some good altcoins. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to shit on everything, but I'm just saying you've got to be a bit more selective. Okay. This all making sense. Bravo, Ben, Vicky. Yep, great. When you were investing in Syrup, what exactly were you seeing that made you believe it would survive? It was the fundamentals. It was generating revenue. It was a product. You could actually use it. It was actually valuable. People needed a place where they could earn yield. Everything else failed. All right. And I looked at the founders, looked who was building it, looked under the hood, and it was working really, really, well. They were building new products, and they were also focusing on a non-crypto audience. All right. And that's another thing that is updating with our strategy consistently is the market's always changing, guys. All right. The market is consistently changing. And I know a lot of you follow me online. I'll talk about altcoins, but guess what? The market changes. And I'm not updating every single move on my social media. I'll share the things that I think are helpful, but the market moves. And this was a post I did the other day to our Platinum members, Platinum update. I've deployed, I shared what I'm buying, the percentages, the market's rebounding, and this is based on the tariffs. We actually bought just at near the bottom when the tariff news hit, that Trump was going to start to fix the tariffs and we're going to push it down the line. We bought then, and I shared that, and the strategy changed. I cut some of my gaming projects and I went into some layer ones. All right, so my strategy long term: build your Bitcoin. This is my strategy: build my Bitcoin, long term wealth creation. Use cash flow from crypto into property. You can positively gear property. It's good diversification, especially in Australia. You can obviously look at the banks; they're going to lend you money for it. But using crypto to build that up, push it into property. Also looking at positively, positive cash flowing liquid funds, index funds, income generating stocks to generate revenue. All right, I'm going to talk about my income strategy in a second. But you've got to have income. Crypto doesn't generate an income. Okay, so you can have your job, but if you want to quit your job, if you want to quit your work or whatever you need income. Crypto doesn't generate income. And this is something that, again, people online will sell you the dream. And I want to share the insights about that in a second, and have my goals and targets set. All right. So the wealth creation strategy: Bitcoin for capital growth, property for cash flow. Okay. If you're trying to retire, if you're looking at retirement, crypto does not generate you a cash flow. Even if you're looking at staking and yield, I know there's been some questions about staking. Staking is great to offset the inflation, because tokens print more tokens print tokens in their supply. But it's not good when you're earning a yield. If you're trying to generate an income, let's say you staked ETH, right? I'm a big believer in ETH, by the way. But if you've staked ETH over the last 4 years, we've got 5% of ETH, and ETH's gone down for 4 years. Well, you can't retire if the money that you're making is like literally less than what you put in. All right. So you need the stable income. And that's where people selling the dream of, passive income and doing all these things. You can do it with yield and different things, but they're super complex. You can lose your money very, very quickly. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to stuff it up. All right. And that's really important. That's why I like to think about the cash flow stability property matrix. This is where we're looking at generating a stable income through positively geared properties and or income generating stocks. Get them positively geared, and then use that money to then give you more time and more freedom. All right. That is reality. I'm giving you the reality, guys. And guess what? I just want you to know that the people online that are feeding you this stuff about quitting your 9 to 5 and becoming a trader is absolutely BS. All right. 99% of people should not be a trader. I am not a trader. All right. And I can make a lot more money by investing long term. And guess what? It doesn't take me any time. Do you think it's actually reality that you can quit your job and work 1 hour a week trading? It's not true. If that was the truth, why wouldn't everyone be doing it? It's too good to be true. All right. Is it all making sense so far? Cool. Annie, great. Making sense. Spot on, Ben. I know. Marcus, great. Richard, Albo wants to tax our homes, unrealized gains. Yeah, I know. The Australian government loves to take our tax, so you've got to be structurally right as well. And I'll talk about that in a second. All right. Because you can lose a bunch of money in tax. Pablo, sure does. Great. Grant, exactly. Stephen, yes. Mostly sense. Great. Awesome. Makes sense. This is also really good advice. Also learned these lessons. Being sold the dream. It's unrealistic. For example, trading is really time confusing. And as business owners and those people with more capital, you've all seen it as well. The people try to sell the dream. All right. So this next part is setting your strategy. Right. This is the goal setting. There's 3 distinct wealth paradigms. These are the 3 different levels you can get to that's going to increase your lifestyle and your ability to get the time freedom and financial freedom. All right. And I don't like to say those words because it's just used in a bad sense. I'm not here to sell you that. What I want you to think about though is these are the levels, right? Security, $1 million in liquid investable assets. So trying to get you basically everything outside of your home occupier property, right? So if you live in your own property, put that to the side. Trying to get $1 million in liquid investable assets is security. Once you get here, this is where your core needs are starting to be met. All right. It allows you to reduce your debts. Foundation of security is starting to be built. And if you have let's say you got $1 million in an index fund, or you've got $1 million in stable coins, you can earn 8, 9, 10%, right? Sometimes more. I know there's funds out there that, we're connected to. You can earn 13, 40, 15% in the stock market. All right. If you've got $1 million in a fund like that, you're earning $150,000 free cash flow. All right. That gives you the security. The next level up is lifestyle enhancements. This is the $3 to $6 million level. This is when you can start to get meaningful compounding wealth relative to your personal income. Right. Funding is starting to get better. You're getting more comfort. There's more lifestyle upgrades. Maybe you're taking your family on a couple more holidays. You're taking your partner on business class. You're renovating the house. Maybe you're looking at an investment property. All right. Maybe 2 investment properties and your debts are pretty much cleared. All right. This is the lifestyle enhancements. The big ultimate goal, in my opinion, is trying to get to that $10 million level. This is abundance and identity. This is complete financial freedom, right? This is where you're at 10% at 10 million, you're earning $1 million a year. Don't need to work if you don't want to. Purpose of wealth really comes into question. What is beyond that, right? What's beyond this level? And how am I going to pass this money on to others? And a big one here, and those that have, made money, and I know there's a lot of business owners in the group, and those that are property investors and have a lot of capital, diminishing marginal joy from more wealth. This is really, really relevant, all right? And I've learned this over the last few years as I made more and more money. There comes a point where money is not important anymore. It's not even about money. All right. It's about your fulfillment, what you get to do in life, the time you get to spend with your friends, the freedom. All right. And I'm trying to build a business where I can invest full time, help others and travel the world. All right. And be able to build an amazing, sort of investment portfolio to help out my family, my friends, my partner. All right. And help everyone on the journey, including our team and people that follow. That's what gets me fulfilled. I could make more and more money if I wanted to. But it doesn't change anything after a point, all right? And that's the time piece. I want you guys to start to think about that as you start to grow. Now, 3 ways to grow your portfolio. You're like, cool, Ben, this is great, but how do I even get there? Okay, there's 3 ways to grow your portfolio. Number 1, buy more crypto, right? So you need to add more cash into your portfolio, right? Automated buying, dollar cost averaging, additional capital from dividends, your salary, you've sold a property, maybe you're just trying to deploy, and look at dollar cost averaging. I see a lot of people that just dump it into the market. All right. I'll talk about our buy strategy in a second, but this is super important. All right. Having that portfolio intact is really important. If you need help with understanding what to buy, how to structure your portfolio, that's exactly what we do at Collective Shift. I'm going to share with you that at the end when we go through the exclusive bonuses. All right. Next one is crypto growth. So playing the cycle. So this is where you can compound cycle by cycle. So let's say you don't have more cash to deploy, you're trying to grow. Playing the cycle is where you can really compound. Bitcoin was compounded at 40% on annual over the last 10 years. Just in the last few years, it's compounded at 100%. Most major altcoins can probably do 2-3x, maybe more. Minor altcoins, maybe more, all right? But if you can take profits at the right time, set them aside, and then redeploy in the bear market, that's the strategy. For me, it's selling down my altcoins, putting some into diversification to offset my crypto, and then redeploying in the next bear market. And guess what? Guess what where the best investments are? In the bear market, all right? Are we too late now? Have you missed the boat? Absolutely not. All right. Take a look around. If you think you've missed the boat, take a look around. Who in your friendship circles, your family, is into crypto or at work? Out of your 10 people, how many of those 10 are actually into crypto? I'm going to say on average, it's less than 2. That is your answer to if you've missed the boat or not. All right. This space is only growing, and that's why the cycles are big. Okay. Timing buys and sells can be risky, but this is where you can, if you can exit at the right time and get back in, like Matt and Simon spoke about, this is where you can really compound it. If you stuff it up though and round trip, it goes all the way back to the start, and that's really, really important. Okay. Brooke, this is really great stuff, Ben. Thank you. Appreciate it. Jeremy, great. Thanks, mate. That's awesome. Fantastic. This is good. Steve, would you exclude investment property from the figure? No, I would include investment properties. Okay. Awesome. Now, this is the 7-step strategy. I might get Alice or one of the team just to drop the link in the chat again. This is the 7-step strategy. This is the most important part. This brings everything together. Okay. So we're going to go through this. And then if you need help as you go through this, I'm going to share with you how we can help you do this for you. All right. But if you want to do this on your own, I'm going to go through step by step. All right. And this strategy is all the difference. This is what we use for all our clients. Kieran invested at the worst time and he's up 2.5x since working with me through this strategy process. Right, Chris, I mentioned at the start, paid off his mortgage after I helped him sell Bitcoin at the top. These guys aren't full-time crypto people. They both have full-time jobs. They have kids. They have families. There's a lot of shit going on. Guess what? Chris just paid off his mortgage. He's living debt-free, and now we can knock back a couple of days from work, spend more time with his family. Nice. That's what it's about. Okay, all ready to go? Let's get into it. Number 1. Peter, thank you, Ben and team, as always. Reality, I have to go. No worries. Inspirational, thank you. Awesome. Cool. So the link's in the chat, so we'll get that going. Okay, number 1. What does your portfolio look like? You have to simplify it, in my opinion. If you are time poor, it is very, very difficult. Okay. You need to simplify the way you manage your portfolio. The more exchanges you have, the more wallets you have, the more coins you have, the harder it is and complex to sell at the back end. The dashboard is really good. If you end up becoming a member, you can use our dashboard to look at the sectors, because not only the assets, you need to look at the sector. Some people don't know they're overexposed to Solana or AI or meme coins. It's not about the individual token. It's about the sector. All right. So this is the first step in portfolio allocation. You don't need to use our dashboard. You can use other dashboard trackers. Doesn't matter. But you need to bring everything together and know where everything is. All right. I spoke to a member the other day. We brought him in. We introduced him to a tax specialist. We handle all the introductions to help you get everything you need so you can fast track and just get all this sorted. The tax person actually found a bunch of crypto they didn't even know about. All right. I even found crypto I didn't even know about. I found I think it was 11 ETH or 21 ETH a couple of years ago that I just forgot about on a wallet. All right. So sometimes you don't even know what you've got. So we can plug into the right people and professionals to integrate everything, get everything together, and we can start to simplify it, because that's where it's going to go wrong on the back end. What is your time horizon? That's the next step. Knowing how quickly you intend to achieve your goals will help you determine the appropriate amount of capital to invest and the level of risk you're willing to accept. So if you're in retirement, right, you don't want to be playing around trying to time the cycles and playing a bunch of risk. Completely different. All right. And I have a couple of case studies of people in retirement that we really worked with here, because you don't want to be playing that risk. If you're younger, and you've got a bit more cash to splash around with, it's a different story. So time horizon is big. And I actually like to split mine with short-term and long-term, which I can talk about soon. Strategic portfolio structure, what Matt and Simon spoke about, having that risk and reward, and that's how we analyze all of our coins. It's not just like what's good, what's your thoughts on. It's like, no, we have an analytical approach where we have mathematical equations and research to look at each individual token. We have our own algorithm that scores tokens live to keep you up to date. So if you're wondering if you've missed the boat, or if we're still recommending, or if we still think this is a good buy, the shift list literally has it all updated live. All right. It updates every minute, I think, based on the algorithms we have in the back end. It pulls in the prices and all the data and the tokens and the ratings. Right. Super cool. Tax and structuring. For people that haven't looked at this and have more than $250,000 in your portfolio, this is a big one. This is where I work with a lot of my platinum clients on to make sure they have the right structure. We're looking at different structures, whether you're a company, are you a trust, are you individual, are you SMSF, whatever it might be. We work with everyone, and then we try and work and get the right professional in to help you make the most tax efficient structures available. All right. So this is where you can really start to get a little bit more professional about actually making sure your structure is right. And especially if you've got a business or you've got different things, this becomes even more important. So we can help you with that. Stoven, thanks, Ben and team. Brooke, sounds great. I like the holistic approach. Cool. Yeah, cool. Oh, we just had another member sign up. Welcome aboard, Martin, and great chatting with you. Wow. I haven't even spoken about. We have Martin and, oh, wow. Who we got? Peter, Dave, Martin, Nick, Liz. I don't know where you guys are finding our memberships, but spots are already filling up. That's absolutely wild. Okay, moving forward. So the risk tolerance, this is really, really important. So risk management is one of the most overlooked parts when entering crypto. If you're investing, two common mistakes are most common, right? Underestimating the risks and overestimating how low risk Bitcoin is over time. People tend to over allocate on altcoins, and that's where you get burnt. Again, how we invest is and what we share is what we're doing ourselves. I'm not putting and gambling my net wealth on crazy altcoins to try and turn them in overnight. If that's what you're after, and you're after those 10x meme coins for tomorrow, and you want to turn $1,000 into $100,000, we're not for you. Get out of the chat, leave the stream. We're not for you, right? Go and follow some other influencer that'll promise a dream. We actually set expectations, and the reason we do that is because you're going to win off the back of actually having some proper accountability of someone not selling you the dream and actually being real. All right, and that's what we like to talk about and coach and teach in our group. All right. And what is your buy strategy? If you've got cash you're looking to deploy the market, you need to have a strategy. All right. And this is where the shift list comes in. This is where I come in, and the team and the platinum is super, super helpful when it comes into what is your strategy, because how much are you investing? When are you investing? Are you dollar cost averaging? Are you lump sum? Are you doing in stable coins? What are you buying? When are you buying it? Are you thinking about tax structures? What exchanges to use? Are you looking about OTC? Are you looking at lending? Are you looking at DeFi? Are you looking at DEXs? Are you looking at centralized exchange? There is so many things you need to be thinking about. On-chain analysis, sentiment. You're looking at the TA. Do you know when to get in? Do you know when to get out? This is not as easy as just coming in, buying a bunch of stuff and hoping for the best, guys. It's not reality anymore. All right. Bill is one of our platinum members. He signed up. Very busy guy. Has a huge property portfolio. This guy's very, very busy. So time poor. Whenever I call him, he's on the road. He's busy doing meetings. He made $120,000 off a short-term buy from having a high-risk strategy that we looked at. He was able to get this out of our Platinum WhatsApp, bought in at the Trump token at $9, got out at 63. All right, paid for his collectorship fee for a few years. Now, this is obviously no promise returns. I'm not showing you this because you're going to come in and do the same. I'm showing you that by having a strategy and actually getting out at the right time, oh my goodness, guess what? He sold. He took profits. Can you believe it? All right, because he had a strategy, guys. What is your sell strategy? This was mainly covered with Matt and Simon, so I don't want to double down on it, but the sell strategy is super, super important. And we go through this, and if you're having trouble understanding what your sell strategy might be, or if you've got a lot of money at risk and you need some help, you need some guidance, I'm going to share with you how that looks and how we can help just in a second. All right. Now, what to do when you're time poor. This is really important. This is experience shares as someone that is also time poor, running my business, and I work with a lot of time poor people. These are the most common things that I see people make the mistake of when you're time poor. What tends to happen is you follow YouTubers online and you think that you need to follow everything that they say because they know what's going on. Well, they don't know what you're doing. They don't know how much time you have. And you end up following these different people. You might even sign up for a shitty paid group. They're starting to sell you into different stuff. And you're speaking to different coaches. They're saying different things. You don't know what to do. You're watching the market rally. You're sitting back and you're panicking. All right, have you missed the boat? Are you in the right altcoins? I get it. All right. But time in the market does not mean returns. This is not a business. This is not a job. The more hours you put in crypto does not equal money back. All right. Just because you spend more and more time in crypto and follow more content and follow more people does not equal money back. The market doesn't care about you or me. It doesn't give a flying for who's it. The market's going to do what it's going to do. All right. So you need to build a portfolio based on your strategy, not someone else's. Okay. Anita signing up to absolutely incredible content. I haven't even spoken about what we do yet. Patrick is just booked. Dave. Wow. Okay. We might not have any spots left, Alice, before we actually this. Anyway, let's get into it. I want to get to the end of this because I want to share with you exclusive bonuses we have for all of you today before they get filled. Number one, don't chase narratives. Chasing narratives is really, really important. Chasing narratives is going to end up, you're going to get chopped out. All right. So when there's the new NFT craze or the new ICO craze or the new meme coin craze, when you're time poor, chasing narratives, you're going to get chopped out. I see it all the time. Staking assets when you're long-term investing to offset the supply of new tokens, really important. Cold storage. Look, I have a mix. I don't have all of mine on cold storage. The exchanges are far better. But if you have it in a hot wallet, you need to be careful because this week, I had a member that signed up the other day, a platinum client. He lost $450,000 by having his crypto on the exchange, right? And then he came to me. I also had another client that he has his crypto on a reputable exchange, and he Googled it, and there's now scammers that literally copy the website to the absolute nth degree. So you look like you're signing into an exchange. An Australian exchange, by the way, clicked on the link, clicked the button, logged in, didn't know any different. The attackers got access to his computer and nearly drained everything. So having your crypto on an exchange is very risky. So again, there's implementations you can put in place to make sure you protect that. I just want to say, just be careful when you're time poor. Think long term. Don't trade. Don't fuck around, guys. The more trades you make does not equal the more money you make. Just remember that. All right. Add to your positions when cash comes available, but don't overtrade. All right. Kent came to us after following someone else online. He's now been with Collective Shift for 2 years. You can check out all of our reviews online on Trustpilot. He's been a member for 2 years, and he's really talking about how he has an amazing positive experience since joining. The first year in crypto was all self-taught. He lacked the knowledge and he needed to feel confident with money he was investing. And since joining, he developed a clear path to maximizing profit and feeling confident, backed by a team who genuinely want him to succeed. Imagine that. Imagine people actually wanting you to win. It doesn't exist in crypto. It's ridiculous, right? The resource and data that provided by the team have access, made it super easy, and he made a $50,000 increase across his portfolio in the first 2 weeks, which is super rewarding, right? Can't recommend these guys highly enough. Now, Jacob, sorry to hear you got wrecked like that too. Sorry to hear. Yeah, scary, Tracy. Grant, Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull's not a good choice, Ben. Stick to water. Thanks, Dave. I'm actually running a marathon in a couple of weeks, mate. I'm pretty happy with my health, but I appreciate it. Cool. Okay. Considerations for high net wealth individuals. So this is big if you have more than $250,000 in crypto. And this is where we really help clients make sure they're getting the most out of crypto. Okay. OTC is over the counter. If you're just using a generalized exchange, it's where you can really lose a lot of money in spreads and fees. Okay. OTC is when you're investing or trading more than $25,000. Using OTC is going to save you a bunch of money. Having accountability and alerts. When you're busy and you've got lots of going on and you have a lot of money in crypto, having the accountability alerts is really important. Again, it's something we offer in our membership, which I'll share with you soon. But that was the core difference for a lot of our clients. Having a short and long-term strategy, not just bundling everything in together. Important. Thinking about lending. There is lending opportunities out there that I use as well. Something to think about. Having those goals. What is your goal? Is it 1 million? Is it 3 to 6 million? Is it 10 million? Look at on-chain and off-chain. Do you want to look at staking those assets? Do you want to look at earning a yield on USDC? Do you want to look at DeFi? Do you want to move it out into other assets? Something you need to think about. Tax and structuring. Do you have the right accountant? We have a great network of people that I work with that we do personal introductions. I do personal introductions to our OTC, personal introductions to tax and structuring. You get all of our best people in a line to come and help you and fast track this process so you can do it on your own. All right. With us, with people that come and do it with you. The sell strategy is really important. Automation and thinking about Bitcoin and property. That's the real wealth creation method. Okay. Trying to really stack that. So what you've learned today so far, we're going to get to Q&A very, very soon. And first, but I want to share with our bonuses. But the thing I want to just touch on, what you've learned today is a few things. One, how to build a clear and simple strategic portfolio strategy. Number two, 4 proven exit strategies serious investors use that Matt and Simon spoke about. Really, really important. How to avoid round-tripping, life-changing profits, okay, with that psychology, the on-chain analysis. How serious investors, that 10%, actually think against the small players, which is the 90%. And hopefully you've taken a lot out of that today. Also, how to deploy larger capital safely, right, with OTC. How's things sounding so far? Guys, let me know, is this making sense? Have you learned a lot? We're about to get into the Q&A. We're about to get into some of the things that I want to share with you on how we can actually help. Make sure you got the 7-step strategy process. I just want to make sure you guys are hearing us loud and clear. Is everything good? Craig, cheers, guys. Very useful. Awesome. I'm back. Sorry, guys. I just dumped out. So I really want to make sure you guys have everything you need, to win. How, Sebastian, you're good. Great stuff, Stephen. Buy the slides up. Just jumped out of the chat. What about the questions, guys? In the chat, let me know what sort of questions you're thinking about at the moment. Everything making sense? Just want to make sure you guys know. All right. Too much Red Bull? Very much so. Fantastic. We're going to have Matt and Simon come back on in just a second. So there's so much more insights. There's just so much to cover, honestly, guys. Okay, you guys see that? Hopefully we can bring that back up. Awesome. Okay. Not your keys, not your crypto. Yes, your head's about to explode. I know there's a lot. I thought Mr. Swap kicked you off, Ben. Your staking option, we can talk about that. Talk about altcoins. Right, a few questions for you really quickly because I want to get to the good stuff. Do you feel more confident with everything you've got going on? All right. Do you feel more confident with the strategy and portfolio? Again, make sure you download the 7-step. Has everything you've learned so far been valuable? Great. Can't decide on the spot. Happy to watch. Not your keys, not your crypto. Have to run. Really awesome. Impressive. Great info. Great stuff. Very useful. Awesome. Okay. Even if you honestly just take a little bit of what we covered today, tiny fraction, you're going to massively increase your chances of success. All right. I'm really honestly very, very excited for all of you to take away what we said so far. Take it away, implement it, and look at the amazing results that are going to show up. And I want to see you, hopefully, at Oz CryptoCon in Sydney or, around the trap. Send me a DM. Hopefully, what you've learned today is going to really help you take the next step. Okay. But the hard truth is, for a lot of people, today was super powerful, but the information alone won't change your life. All right. The information is good, but the strategy without implementation is wasted potential, and clarity without action is just missed opportunity. All right. Trying to bridge the gap between everything is the most important. Okay. That is the gap between winning and losing, in my opinion. And what psychologists say, and our head coach, Travis, is a psychologist. The reality is, in 48 hours, most of you are going to forget exactly what we spoke about today. You probably forgot within 48 hours of anything, maybe you heard and remember a few things, but in a couple of weeks, you're probably not going to remember even being at the masterclass. And that's just reality. All right. And maybe you took notes, and I hope you did take notes because I'm a big note taker. I love taking notes, but it's very hard. And let's be honest with each other. The notes graveyard, how many notes have you got, like me, that just go to the note yard, the graveyard, and are never accessed again? All right. You don't have time. You have to read them up, implement it, go back to your day-to-day, go back to your job, go back to your family, go back to your kids, and all the momentum is lost. And crypto is moving faster than ever, guys. Bitcoin is at 120,000 or 117,000. All right. We were literally at 70,000 a few months ago. Altcoins were down 60% not that long ago. Things are moving. This bull market is not going to last forever. I just really want to try and make sure you know this, that this opportunity is not going to last forever. We're not going to be in a bull market forever. All right. And after this event ends, the market's not going to pause. New narratives will emerge. Things are going to change. Coins will pump. Sentiment will shift. And if you're not ready, you're going to be left behind. And the reality is we can't cover everything. This honestly is just so much information to share, but the time is limited and we know you're super busy. All right. You got a career, you got a family, you got a life. So, there's a lot going on. So look, there's two options. As I said at the start, I want to share with you how we can help. All right. And you don't have to take advantage of this because there's not that many spots anyway, but I want to share with you if you want to see how we can help. There's two options. All right. Number one is just like most conferences, you take this information away. All right. And you try and implement it. But crypto is not static, guys. Investments are not static. The market will move tomorrow. Trump will say something, a new narrative will pop up, and it's all going to be different. You try and implement it alone, but within days or weeks, something's going to change and everything's going to be outdated. That's when bad decisions happen. That's how people round trip. All right, option two. And this is where a different option can arise, where you get real-time information, updated constantly, alerts, where you get your investment strategy looked at and evolves with the market, and you get direct guidance, coaching, support, and implementation to help. All right, and what if we did this together? What if you got all of that money I spent on my team to help you with your results? What if we played an active role in that? What if we took a responsibility or a personal obligation to try and help you win? Right, and really stack the deck in your favor. Like, do you think that everything you've learned today, and maybe you're new, maybe you're not, doesn't matter. Do you think everything you've learned today from the team, the 30 minutes they've had to present each session, do you think that we could give you more shortcuts, support systems, insights that go way deeper than we could ever go on a one event to basically make your success pretty inevitable? All right, and that's introducing the Platinum membership, and this is where everything today has come from. It's a very, very small percent of our Platinum membership. Think of it as your elite level personalized strategy for professional research, high touch investor support all year round. All right. And think of it as a mix of your crypto coach, crypto research desk, a mastermind community, outsourced done for you investment insights, and a personalized brokerage style alerts. This doesn't exist anywhere. I built this based on the product that I wanted to build, that I wanted when I first started. All right. And that's what the Platinum is. And I got started sharing a bunk bed with my brother, no finance degree, no connections. I quit high school when I was 17 from a small town in Tasmania. I went all in on crypto, turned it into 7 figures, lost it all, right? And then built it back up through the processes and systems. And what made the difference? It's the edge. Remember when I spoke to you, what's your edge? All right. The big investment I made on my research team really gave me no other option to succeed. And now I spend over $200,000 a month on my team. This is a screenshot from my P&L, right? $200,000 a month. This was actually last month, so this is going up. That was spent $500,000, in the last couple of months. 2.4 million in total on my team. Do you think I have an edge with that? Yeah, I do. All right. And I fast tracked my way to success. With the right team in my corner, I avoided all the big mistakes, all the big moves, and my portfolio exploded. And that's where I became a multimillionaire at 24. And I'm not saying that to show off, but I'm just saying that it's possible. I didn't come from money. This is no nonsense. This is genuine. All right. And the reality is the reason why we do Platinum is and Collective Shift, because I built this company because I wanted to bring other people on the journey too. And if other people had the same research and tools and strategies and we only get paid if they succeed, then do you see how that is a win-win? Right? It's a great business model. If you think about it, if we help you win, all right, and you make money, then we get paid and we can both win. All right. That's how it wins. And if you don't make money, then we have a money back guarantee and we give you money back and that's the end of it. All right. And I've wasted a bunch of time trying to help you. All right. And time is very valuable to me. Right. So it's a shared goal to help you win. All right. And no one's done this in crypto. This is very new. And it's more important than ever if you're managing a big crypto portfolio alone. All right. You have a financial advisor for your stocks. You have an accountant. You have a doctor. You have a personal trainer. I've got a coach for everything. I've got a performance coach. I've got, investment coach. I've got financial advisor. I've got an accountant. I've got a running coach. I've got, CFOs. I hire people that are better than me, that are experts to help me learn. And that's how I fast track. And that's what Platinum solves, right? Your dedicated support system. So who is it for? This is absolutely not for everyone. And I'm not going to lie, 90 probably +% of you, there's 2,000 people that registered for this event. Most of you probably are not going to be able to get into this program. All right. Reason being is you need to have at least $250,000 or more in investable assets. That's crypto or other assets. If you have less than $250,000, you cannot join the Platinum. All right. We do have another program that is on a wait list because it's been so popular. We currently don't have it open, but we will be opening it next week. So when I share this link in a second, you can book in a call. Just make sure you put less than $250,000. You can book a call and you'll be on the first list that we open up next week to get access to the things I just shared. All right. But everyone else, you have to have more than $250,000. It's perfect for if you're round trip gains and don't want to again this time. If you're time poor, juggling a career, business, family, life, or you're trying to invest a lot of money and you don't really know what to do, and you want to be surrounded by a high caliber, serious investor community that I've handpicked, all right, this is for you. Who it is not for, again, absolutely leave the stream right now. Don't book a call. We will cancel it if we see anything in the application call around not making genuine, serious wealth. Anyone looking for trading, gambling, or 10x overnight, we will instantly cancel. We're not speaking to you. It's not who we're for. And you're not ready to take action or be coached. We don't accept everyone. And guess what? Business owners in the room, you probably understand this. It hasn't always been like this. When we first started, we really, we wanted the people to help drive the business. I've made a lot of money, guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I do not want to work with people I don't want to work with. And I don't want to get and onboard members into our group that are not a good fit either. And if you're not a good fit, that's why we have our team to vet you. And it's an application process. And we turn most people down. It is a very curated, vetted group. And it's why we created the Collective Shift Platinum. Now, this is what it includes. And I also want to just, again, mention there are some very, very exclusive bonuses I'm about to share with you that is only very, very limited. All right. And it is literally, there is only a few spots we have available for some of these bonuses. And this is not a scarcity tactic. There's very limited spots for a couple of bonuses I'm about to share. So I just want to make it super clear before we share this to make it fair for everyone. First of all, what's just included in the Collective Shift Platinum? This is what you get off the bat. All right. This is before the bonuses I'm about to share. So what's included? You get a one-on-one strategy session with our head coach, Travis. All right. You get onboarded. He's our head coach. You speak with him as a psychologist. He's a performance coach, and he gets you set up with our personalized experience to get the best out of the membership, depending on what you're after. You're a retiree. You have a lot of time. You're a business owner. You have little time. You're new to crypto. You're old to crypto. It doesn't matter. We have a personalized experience that's built off the back of that session. You get so you get a monthly group platinum video call every single month where you can join our other platinum members and get out the market updates. Exclusive platinum member WhatsApp community. 24/7 crypto support from WhatsApp from myself and the analysts that you met today. Direct alerts from whenever I'm buying or selling on the market moves, we update that platinum chat. You get your dedicated own account manager. This person is there to support you, introduce you to different people, tax, legal, exchanges, whatever it might be. And you get all the full access to the platform. All right. All the research that we shared today, you get access to all of that. All the charts, all the shift lists, all the token stuff, you get access to all of that. But to keep the quality of the group high, by the way, there's more I'm going to share with you in a second because that's the bonuses that only you guys are going to have access to. And I'm whispering, but there's actually 1,500 people in the room. So, this is going to be interesting. To keep the quality of the group high, you need to jump on a call with us to see if it's a good fit for both of us. You will notice you cannot buy our memberships on our website. It doesn't exist. Reason, why do we do that? Because we don't want people we don't want to work with. I'm in a very fortunate position where I don't want to spend time, sorry to be blanked, but I don't want to spend time with people that I don't vibe with, that I don't think I can help, and it's just genuinely not a good fit for our culture. Why? Because the money side of things will come when we work with good people. I don't want to spend my time and all my team's time wasting with people that aren't a good fit. So you're welcome to apply, but there's absolutely no guarantee that you'll be invited to join. I'm just going to be completely frank with you. We only want to work with people who are truly a good fit for the group, all right? And then we genuinely think we can help, okay? Now, again, if you have less than $250,000, you can still book a call. We have a lower tier, but currently there's a wait list that is not available. You need to have a look in a second when I share how you can even do this. Again, I'm trying to make it fair before we share the link because somehow people are already finding the link, which is absolutely crazy. Okay. Yeah, Gregory, Lyndall, Ivan, Chris. Wow. Okay. People have found the link somehow. So what you get a one-on-one strategy session with our director of coaching, Travis. You get a personalized session with our head coach designed to craft your platinum experience to the things you need help the most. You walk away with a plan, exact steps on taking the next step, all right, in how the journey and the platinum experience will be. And it's different for different people. We've got people with $30 million in their portfolio. We have people with $250,000 in their portfolio. We have time poor people. We have people that are all in. We have a set experience depending on where you're at. And that's what's created in the one-on-one session. Jason, who joined us, was staring at an 80% loss, and now he's up 2.5x since working with us, right? Completely turned around his portfolio after one strategy session. He's a busy guy. He's a dad. He's an everyday guy. Right? He's not a crypto expert. He came to us because he was down, and we helped him out because we are incentivized for you to win. If you don't win, we don't make money. Right? You fast track these gains and a new mindset and the confidence to execute a clear plan. You get a monthly group coaching call every month, the Platinum Forum calls. You skip the noise, get the updates, a 90-minute session from Matt, Simon, myself, and the team to make the changes and updates you need. You listen to us as a podcast, as a busy person, you don't need a lot of time. Ron, he's a Platinum member. It was a game changer for him. He saved so much time and stress by just following the team strategy, and he cut through the noise, all right, and avoided costly errors every month by just saving time and leveling up his results. The private WhatsApp community, the fast-moving alpha. This is where the alerts come through. You get the exclusive alerts and meeting other people in the WhatsApp that's sharing daily insights, calls, etc., strategic moves to make these changes. This is where Bill made $120,000 from a project that we shared, and they guided him through the exit to lock in profits. He's a busy guy. Bill has a lot of property. He doesn't have time for crypto. That's why he signed up, and we're able to fast track his time with us. You get 24/7 crypto support, direct access to the team. Have any questions about the market, your portfolio, a coin, a market shift? You literally can ask a question in the WhatsApp, and we can be there to help. So you never be stuck wondering if you're doing the right thing again. We're there to help and support you. Brady's a busy guy as well. He always gets a fast, helpful response. It's real people, not bots or influencers. You can watch this success story online. Whether it's a strategy check or market question, Ken always gets what he needs. Brady always gets what he needs instantly, and that's the Platinum difference. You get the direct alerts whenever I buy or sell something. This is where I put in Syrup. This is where I put in the Meme5 project. All of my buys and sells, Sui, Hype, all of it, all delivered live, so you don't have to sit in the charts and scan the news all day. You can outsource that decision making and with a team that has a track record, so you can actually get the confidence. Okay, so you can see what we're doing live. You get to see when I'm taking profits as well. Again, this is a screenshot of the metaverse when I was taking profits out. This is in my bank statement. I made a lot more before this, but I couldn't actually go back further than 4 years or 3 years on my bank statement. So, that's their $50,000 chunks as we go. That's my sell strategy, and I share that with you as we go. Kent, talks about knowing what and when to sell is everything. The clarity changed the game for him. Kent runs his own business, and timing exits can be the hardest part, and now it's handled with clarity and conviction. Your dedicated account manager, your crypto concierge, your own personal contact inside our team to help you with onboarding, exchange navigation. All right. If anyone that signs up and gets approved, you'll speak to our crypto concierge and EA, Alice. She'll welcome you to the group. She'll give you a call. Genuine people, all right, and tailored guidance, trusted contacts when you need it. That is the shortcut to trying to just watch content online and influence and trying to figure it out, all right? A recent Platinum member, I had a one-on-one with a Platinum member, and we saved him $13,000 from moving exchanges through a personal introduction. You get personal introductions from all of us with all of our partners. And guess what? We don't make affiliates. We don't make any money on that. You know how much money these exchanges offer us to promote their services? Could you imagine? We have over 1,000 members. We have over 150 Platinum clients that have more than $250,000 in their portfolio, up to 30 million. Do you know how much these exchanges are offering? And we have never accepted anything from them, and we never will, because that is not our incentive. Our incentive is to help our clients make money. We'll always be independent to give them what they need. Right? You get access to our full research platform that actually helps. All of our access to the investor dashboard, the token ratings, the reports, frameworks, all the insights, so you know exactly what to look out for, what to avoid, and where the opportunities are. That's updated daily. Liz is in her retirement. She just got back. I spoke to her yesterday, actually. She just got back with a partner from Europe. Liz is not a crypto person. She's investing under SMSF. She uses the platform every week to cut through the noise and helps her stay ahead. She took Bitcoin profits and went on a cruise in Europe with a partner. Amazing. And we were able to help her with a strategy, all right? Really cool. It's a game changer, one source of truth that helps her confident and informed. So this is everything you get as a Platinum member. Now, the standard price is $15,000. I do have some things I want to share with that. We are not absolutely no discounts. We do not discount this. This price is the price. No changes on that ever. Reason being is that we're actually increasing our pricing. I'm going to share with you what that looks like in a second with some other bonuses that all of you guys are going to have access to if you get approved. All right. So we might throw the link in the chat so you can start to have a look at this. But what's going to happen is you're going to get pushed to the Platinum page. And again, I'm going to share with you the bonuses we have in a second. Again, if you have less than $250,000, you can still book a call. You'll be put on the wait list for our other product that is cheaper. All right. But there is a wait list, and that's going to be first in, best dressed as well. What's going to happen, you're going to go to this link here, and I'll get Alice, if you can put the link in. Head to collectiveshift.io/platinum. All right. Very, very limited time. There's a few days that we're going to offer these exclusive offers specifically for you before we increase the price. We are officially, for the first time, announcing we are increasing the Platinum price. It is going up. No questions about it. Why? Because we're getting unbelievable demand for this product, and we cannot keep up. And two, we have a supply issue. There's only so many people we can work with. And that's why it's a very high quality exclusive group. And we want to keep it that way. Spots are very, very limited. So in 30 minutes or less, you'll speak to either David or Reese, one of our member growth team, to see if it's a good fit. And we'll map your situation goals and see if it's a good fit. If it's not, that's absolutely okay. You'll go through, you'll pick a time. Please make sure you fill out the application process. All right. So we need to know, do you have more than $250,000 in investable assets? If you don't, you can still select lower than that and you'll be put on our waitlist for our other lower tier product. And then we need to see what your goals and challenges are. Please fill this out. And again, at a sniff that someone is not going to be a good fit based on their application, we're going to cancel it because we don't have time to be speaking to people because there's literally not that many spots. All right. There is a price increase that's going to happen in 7 days. Right. And these special bonuses I'm about to share with you are only available for the next 7 days. So the way it works, if you book a call and are approved, it is going to basically be those that are approved first, you'll get let in. And you're going to get an extra exclusive special set of bonuses before we increase the price. And if you loved everything that we shared so far, I've saved the best to last. Wait until the last bonus. All right. I think you're going to really love it. These aren't gimmicks. These aren't just like, mumbo jumbo stuff. This is genuine, serious perks of real value. Help to design your results and fast track your results, honestly. Right. Here's everything that you get. There is, when I said there was limited spots, so one of the bonuses we're offering is a ticket. There's only 10 tickets available to this. It is our in-person strategy workshop literally next week. All right, Friday next week in Melbourne. There is a full room of 120, Alice, 120, 130? 130 platinum clients coming in for a full day strategy workshop. I'm going to be speaking. We have guest speakers, an unbeatable agenda. We're talking about strategy, in-person, private networking, drinks, premium location, walking out with a clear portfolio strategy tailored for 2025. But we genuinely only have 10 seats. All right. So that's going to be next week. If you don't get in those first 10 spots or you can't make it, that's okay. You get all the copies of the replay of the content. And we are looking at trying to book in another session later in the year for those that miss out. But those that want to get in, first 10 spots only. I just want to see if there's any people booking calls. Oh, wow. Okay. Mitch, Janine, Josh, Lewis, Brad, Robert. Wow. Okay. Lyndall, there's a lot. Gregory. So you need to be approved first. All right. And then we'll assign those 10 spots based on first in, best dressed. Okay. You can speak to some of the boys to check it out. So the $15,000 is for the first year. It is not committal. You can cancel. I'll talk about that in a second. It's for the year. And then there's discounted options for the second year, as well as elevated options for the second year. For those that want more experiences, we have different things. There's a journey we take you on, as well as once your strategy sorted and you want to take a step back, there's other options we can move you to. All right. Cool. Let's keep going. The next bonus is, if I can bring it up, end of year platinum private party. There is a platinum end of year private party that we have for just our platinum clients on a rooftop at Oz CryptoCon in Sydney in November. So for those that have been to Australian Crypto Convention, it's the biggest convention in Australia. We're having a full blown platinum cocktail party. All right. If you know where the Ivy is, we've literally booked out the Ivy. We booked out the premium VIP area on top of basically a big venue. There's going to be DJs, drinks, all the platinum crew, only platinum clients. You get a ticket, all right? And we also have another option for a guest to come, whether your partner or someone else. So this is where really the community celebrates the wins and builds everything that matters most. The next one is we also have bonus group coaching calls. So fast track your platinum strategy. So the first thing you're going to get when you sign up, and if you get approved, is you're going to get access to an exclusive group coaching call with myself and Matt, our director of research. There's literally one in the next 3 days you'll get access to. And this is a live session that brings everything together. We start to answer your strategy, Q&A, portfolio, everything before we get you in the group in that in-person session. So you're going to get access to that bonus coaching call. All right. You're going to get an additional 11 on top of the other 11, an additional 11 monthly workshops that we do for our pro members. This is with me, Matt, and Simon. Just to be clear, we do this twice a month, every month. We strategy Q&A I'm paid $3,500 to give these 60-minute sessions. We do that once a month, every month, completely for free for you guys as well. And the feedback is awesome. All right. You also get all of our exclusive member discounts, personal introductions. It saves members thousands of dollars. Private vetted introductions to our top tier network, OTC, accountants, brokers, legal exchanges, everyone. As I said, one member saved $13,000 just from switching platforms. All right. You can go into the platform and you can see it. There's tax, there's exchanges, there's wallets, courses, there's heaps of discounts. All right. We also have bonus sessions. We had a Zenica. If you've heard of Zenica, he's got 400,000 followers on Twitter today. We had a bonus session for our platinum clients. Right, he's one of the best meme coin traders in the world. I'm friends with him. We get access to my network of people that we bring on as bonus sessions that you can't get access to anywhere else and get his crypto insights. You get all access to the shift list token ratings, all the dashboard we spoke about. That's how we found Syrup up now 1,000%, Pendle 2,700%, Sui, Solana, everything in there so you can get those updated trackable alerts. Now, last but not least, this is probably the biggest bonus we're offering. Oh, it is. I don't have a lot of time, but I love doing them and I know how valuable it is when I work with people. So you're also going to get a one-on-one strategy call with me only if you book in the next 7 days. All right. I used to charge $5,000 for this. I don't do it outside of platinum. The reason I like doing it is because one, I can help you a lot and share my experiences, and two, I can learn what your challenges are and problems are so I can, help build the team and find more people to make the product better. All right. So my time is very limited and I don't have time for everyone. That's why we want to make sure this is very, very selective on who we bring in. Again, I spoke with Kieran, up 2.5x since working with him. Chris paid off his mortgage with his strategy. Alex, he talks about if you have a large crypto portfolio and a busy life, he's a platinum member. He definitely recommend reaching out to Ben and the team. It's not cheap, but losing money from mistakes is far more painful. Indigo doubled her portfolio, all right, after working with her. So you get an extra one-on-one strategy session with me, in-person strategy workshop, all right? So the first 10 will get Melbourne. Beyond that, we're going to have another session in Sydney so you get access to. End of year party, bonus group coaching call, another 11 workshops, all the member discounts and the dashboard, all right? Don't know how much that's worth, but it's in the tens of thousands, all right? That's what you get additional for free if you're approved within 7 days. So you get all of that, the one-on-one strategy session with the head coach, the 11 session for WhatsApp from me, alerts, account manager research, and all the bonuses, all right, for the next 7 days. Right? If you are approved. If you are below $250,000, again, that's okay. Just be put on the wait list for the other product. Okay. Okay. Wow. Christian, Sahid, Dinny, Prashant, Anthony, Ben, Cameron, Jody, Martin, Steve, Mitchell, Chris, Anita, Michael, Caleb. Okay. That was just in the last 3 minutes, folks. So I'll probably, if you're interested, maybe jump in. Wow. Why are we even doing this? Right? I want to talk about that because you're probably thinking, well, Ben, this is great, but why, if it's so good, why would you do all this? I'm going to share that in a second. But first of all, to do this, book in a call with our member growth team. Head to that link. Spots are genuinely very, very limited. And in 30 minutes or less, we'll map your situation, see if it's a good fit. All right. Your spot will be allocated based on when payment arrives, not when we have the conversation. You can book a call. All right. As long as it's booked in within the next 7 days, you apply for these bonuses. But it's when we receive payment is when you come into the line. Because I literally read out about 20 names in the last 4 minutes that have applied. Okay. So you jump on the calendar, pick a good time, have a chat with either David or Reese, and we'll see if it's a good fit. Now, we have a 30-day, no questions asked guarantee. Why do we do this? Well, we want to make it super clear that trust and transparency is so important to us. No one else does this in crypto. All right. But we make sure we're very certain on who we bring in because we know how much value we can add. But if for whatever reason, it doesn't happen very often, but for whatever reason, you jump in and you realize you're more of a trader, maybe you misheard the last 3 hours of what I was talking about and it's not actually for you. That's absolutely okay. We'll give you your money back. No questions asked. You can check it out on our website. We got the policy. If you're joining up just to take advantage of the 30-day money back guarantee, we'll sniff that out to begin with. We won't accept you in the group. Just to be clear, this is not about money for us. We want to have good people, all right, that join us so we can make money together and work with you for a long period of time. That's the goal, right? Because if we can do that, we can all win. We're not here for short-term people. The other benefits as well is it can be tax deductible for most people, all right? So speak to your accountant. You can, for most people, again, pay it personally through a company or SMSF. You're either going to plug into our system that we've already used. We're up to 150 platinum clients. No lock-in, refund guarantee if it's not for you. There's no lock-in contracts, no crazy stuff, all right? It's all very clear, and you can check it out over on the platinum page. So the annual membership starts from whenever you start. Went 12 months from when you're approved. I can't keep up with the question. Sorry, guys. There's so much. Okay, let's keep going through. So so you talk about, it's an investment, but is it expensive? Well, let's actually break it down. As an Australian person, let's break it down. Let's say you're in the top tax bracket. After a 40% deduction, again, make sure you speak with your accountant to make sure you can get it claimed, but most people can. If you have $250,000 in your portfolio, the net cost is 3.6% of your portfolio, $9,000 after a 40% tax deduction. At $500,000, your net cost is $9,000, all right, 1.8%. And at $1 million, again, your net cost is $9,000, 0.9%. If you think we can make more than that percent for you, then you're ahead. I cannot promise you returns. I cannot do any of that, and it's absolutely not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to make it logical in your brain as how we think about this with our members. Again, Kent made $50,000 a week. I'm not promising that, but he does. There's so many people that jump in and just make a few tweaks to their portfolio and actually start to win. All right. Now, you're probably going, Ben, this is great. All right. And I'm seeing some comments come through. Why are we deleting, comments, whatever else? First of all, we've just put on 3 hours of free value for you, so we don't have to work with you if we don't want to, just to be clear. Second of all, we want to make sure we go through each part of this and people aren't starting to, think ahead and ask questions. We want to, do this programmatically. Why are we doing these bonuses? If we're so good at what we're doing, why do we limited time offer? You're probably asking. Well, we literally cannot keep up with the demand. If you follow me on Instagram, and you can have a look at our office. Look, I'm actually going to show you the office. Look at this. We are just moving in. I don't know if you can see that. Look, we've just moved in the office. We've been here for 2 weeks. 2 weeks we've been here for, and we have to move office because it's too small. All right? We cannot keep up. All right? The bull market is in full gear and the time is now. So we're increasing pricing. So we can't keep up. After these 7 days, we are increasing pricing. What that is, I'm just going to put it out there. It's going to be a lot more than what it is now. Okay? We've opened a short window for attendees to fast track your strategy and be ready. Once we fill the limited spots, the normal onboarding usually reverts back to 3 months and it's going to be a higher price. Just to be super clear. Okay? Have you missed the boat already? You probably heard this, and thinking about this. Oh, Ben, you've done a syrup, done all these sort of returns. I've been hearing this exact same question for 8 years. The same people ask the same questions. What most people don't realize is that 99% of the world still doesn't understand or own crypto. Again, ask your friends, look around. Who actually knows what the hell they're talking about? Nobody. This is coming. It's coming to superannuation funds. The market is growing. They're printing money in the US. This space is only get bigger. Bitcoin is at all-time highs, but adoption is in its infancy. The upside isn't gone. It's shifting. I'm just going to do a quick check on how many people are coming through because I have a feeling there is... do we know how many people have booked calls, guys? There's another 10. Yeah. Jason, Scott, Will, Solly, Johnny, Stephen, Grant, Cam, Chris, Ben. That's all in the last 4 minutes. I don't know, but there's a lot. Okay, next. Ben talks about how we're the collective shift Web3 bullshit filter. He came across the crew as we were developing their platform, and in the early days, we are his bullshit nonsense filter. Robert Kiyosaki has said that the business of investing is a team sport. He has chosen Collective Shift to be a part of his team. Genuine humans providing quality research through the Wild West of Web3. Stop following influencers and be amongst those who are truly stoked on the space. Now, this is the real cost of guessing versus getting it right. We've looked at this. Again, don't forget, I've built this for what I wish I had because this is all the questions I have. Well, I could use crypto influencers. I could do it on my own. I can use all the tools and do it myself. Yeah, you can. But look at the time you're going to spend based on the chart here, the annual cost, the amount of people that come to us after they've already lost money. Imagine if, you didn't have to lose money. You were able to actually get some experiences to help you not lose money before you actually did it. And that's why you don't need to spend a lot of time. We fast track you. We spend least amount of time helping you out. All right. We get you personalized set up and then we're there to help you whenever you need, not trying to look through and do it on yourself. You can look at all this, Checkmate's content. You can go through and look at all the charts yourself, but guess what? You probably have no idea what most of it even means. It took me a long time to start to figure out that stuff. All right. That's where the membership comes in. We can synthesize that. We have real results. We have a money back guarantee. You get the personalized support, right? And you're probably going to save yourself tens of thousands of dollars in making a poor decision. As I said at the start, Chris uses this, Chris Judd, so he doesn't miss out on anything in the asset class, right? Now you're probably thinking, maybe I'm not ready. I'll come back later. Again, that's okay. But just be aware that this is exactly what everyone else said last cycle when they never came back, right? Because you missed the boat again. Who won? The people that got prepared before they felt ready, and your portfolio won't magically fix itself on its own. You don't wait for the storm to pass and build the shelter, all right? You build first or you lose everything. Ryan, he's a busy guy, all right, from Canberra, joined us up. Think about what you can make. This is a success story as a platinum member. Think about what you can make when you do an exit, when you do exit a successful sales strategy versus the entry price of membership. He was trying to trade crypto, following people online, trying to do it all himself, and he followed what we said, joined platinum, built a sales strategy, all right, and he was able to find people to do it like alongside with him. Now you're probably thinking as well, I could invest that $15,000 in the market instead. Sure, but what's that $15,000 going to get you? Another 5K, maybe another 15 if you time it perfectly and get the right investment. But if your portfolio is 250,000, 500,000, 7 figures plus a flat fee, your portfolio could double, triple, who knows where it could be at the top of this cycle. Now, this is the coaching and research and assistance to support you in trying to lock in those gains. Right? You can even pay with crypto, which is even a win-win. You can lock in profits with your crypto, and for most people, get a tax incentive. Pretty cool. Even going back, right? If you're new to crypto, maybe you don't remember FTX. For those of you OGs that remember, this is how long we've been around, right? We saved members 7 figures from the FTX collapse for 2022. We actually literally shared in our platform that FTX was going down, and we saved people hundreds, if not millions of dollars. Anthony talks about it. Big thanks to Ben Simpson for warning the collective shift to get assets off FTX and exchange in general. Well done, champ, for taking care of others. Gene, thank you very much, collective shift team. I follow your advice. I'm very glad I've done it. Worth every penny of the membership. Again, this is why we don't have exclusive partners, right? We want you to win. We don't have any affiliation with exchanges. So you've got 2 choices. One, you can keep doing it alone, hoping this time will be different, or you can follow a proven system that actually works. You've seen the results, you've seen the proof, and now, you can decide. Grant just signed up for his 2nd year. Like, we've been doing this now. We're coming up 5 years, the business. Platinum's been around for nearly 2.5 years. All right. And we have a 2nd year program. So once you've been through the 1st year, you then get a decision at the end of the year. Right. And there's 2 choices. One, you can go to Platinum Elevate. And Platinum Elevate is a whole other experience that you get access to. Platinum Elevate is the same price as the 1st year. You get access to everything I just mentioned. But you also get access to exclusive other events, like a 3-day retreat that we have overseas where we talk about health, wealth, investing. You get dinners. There's also additional strategy sessions in person only for the Platinum Elevate crew. And guess who's in that crew? Some unbelievable people. 7, 8, 9-figure exit founders, really smart people. Again, not degens, not crypto people. These are real people that have money in crypto. And guess what? When we go overseas and do 3 days of retreat, we're meditating on the beach. Then we go, inside and do strategy. Then I bring in some guest speakers of, people I know, VCs, business, and then we go have a few drinks and, have a good night. Unbelievable. All right. You can only get access to that group on your 2nd year. That is a highly, highly exclusive group. All right. This is what we're trying to build, really high quality groups. Grant just renewed the support, and Ben and the team gives him is second to none. He's a Kiwi. Hang in there, people. Be all worth it. This was the depths of the bear market where he renewed for a 2nd year. So if it's not a yes, we get it. This isn't a payment page. It's just a chat. You'll go to the page, have a look at everything. Everything I mentioned here, it's listed, all the success stories. Check it out. We'll walk through on a call the goals, the assets, experience. If it's not a good fit, absolutely all good. You're still going to leave with clarity. If it is, it's probably the best chance you've had this cycle. I'm not going to lie. All right. Jaden, it's his 3rd bull market. He's bagged profits every cycle and made life-changing amounts of money. Awesome. And remember, the risk is on us. Like, genuinely, I've just promised I'm going to have a one-on-one with you. So if we accept you and I have a one-on-one, you're protected by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not satisfied and for any reason at all, you just contact us and we'll refund every cent. No hassle. You have 0 risk. It's all on me. I have to now do one-on-ones with everyone that is booking calls, and I cannot keep up. Sal, Dragon, Ray, Carlise, I can't even, there's too many people. Luke, this is just in the last 30 seconds. So we are very, very, clear on who we want in the group. And again, if you're not in the 250 bracket, that is okay. It's investable assets. It's not crypto. You don't need 250K in crypto, just investable assets. You'll go to our pro membership, which is currently a lower tier. That's currently on wait list. And we may look to open that up next week, depending on how much time we have. Okay. Peter talks about how Platinum is the perfect service for any investor who wants hands-on tailored advice. I'll get to Q&A as well in a sec, guys. I'm just trying to get through these slides here. So keep the questions coming. I think that they are a perfect service for any investor who wants hands-on tailored advice to help meet their specific goals in their journey. So everything you get, I mentioned, one-on-one strategy session with our head coach, Travis. He's speaking at our event next week, by the way. He's a psychologist. It's amazing. He's been my performance coach for 4 or 5 years. Epic guy. You're going to learn a lot from him. Psychology, as we spoke about today, is massive. 11 monthly group calls, the platinum WhatsApp, the 24/7 support from the team and I, direct alerts from when we buy or sell, the account manager, full research platform access, and all the bonuses for the 7 days before we increase the price. And we're doing this because we just want to offer it for those who want to take advantage of it before we increase the price, so we can say that we tried to help you before we increase the price. One-on-one strategy session with me. All right. And by the way, I love doing that. And you're going to learn a lot, but it is a lot of effort. You know, if depending on how many people get approved for this platinum, it could be 20, 30, 40, calls I'm having, one-on-ones. It's a lot, but I love doing it. And I know I can help a lot, and I want to help you guys. All right. And again, it's a good sort of feedback loop for us in the membership. 10 spots for the in-person workshop. Do you reckon we filled those, Alice? I reckon we're probably... Yeah, I don't know how many calls are booked, but we're in the, I don't know, there seems to be 20, 30, 40, 50 people that have booked calls. DT, I'm not sure if you're there, but yeah, there's a lot. Anyway, so we'll see, but those that don't fit in the first 10 will have the Sydney strategy session that we'll book you guys in on. If you have a partner that you want to do it as well, we do have couples memberships. Jump on a call, you can talk through it. It's not that much more. It's just about if they want to attend the events or not. If you have less than $250,000, again, you can still book a call. The lower tier, again, we haven't quite confirmed what we're going to launch the price at, but it's going to be somewhere around that 3,000 Aussie dollar level, so far cheaper. Please book a call. Make sure you're less than $250,000 on the form when you apply to book a call, and you'll go into a call list to reach out when we do the unlock the wait list. Okay. So all you need to do, jump over, schedule a call. Spots are limited, as I said. In 30 minutes or less, we'll just see if it's a good fit. If it's not for you, that's absolutely okay. We want to make sure it's a good fit for everyone.